much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the hosts and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You're not put here to be a white man's footstool. You're put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, so man, but I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, November 18th, 2024. Well, at the very least, the buildup, the excitement, the interest of the Mike Tyson-Logan Paul fight was everything we could have imagined. Those of us that remember yesteryear and Mike Tyson's incredible rise to boxing prominence, dare I say dominance, was very nostalgic for a bunch of us, and we just assumed that killer instinct that was honed and shaped by Cus D'Amato would come out one last time to show this young boy what killer instinct that is not manufactured but is born and bred, what it actually looks like. Oh, the conversation was fantastic, wasn't it? And it would be the first time a streaming service, Netflix, would be hosting such an event, which I think opens up the possibilities for the future. In fact, they are broadcasting some NFL football games on Christmas Day. So this is a whole new era of sports entertainment, and man, oh man, was I looking forward to it. The Logan Paul character, I guess, came onto the scene for a younger generation of Vine and early days of YouTube, and he just became a viral sensation, I believe. And I didn't know really much about him. I'd heard of him. In fact, I think I was more familiar with his brother. There's Logan Paul. What's the brother name? Jake, Jimmy, Johnny, Jake Paul, Paul?
So the boxer is Jake Paul. His brother is Logan Paul. So they both YouTubers, but right. One is known for a boxer and one is known to be a YouTuber.
All right, but they both were YouTubers, though.
Yeah, that's why I just said. Yeah. They both are YouTubers, but one is more known for boxing, and the other one's known for YouTube.
I didn't think much of them. Well, there was a documentary, which if you watched the event, if you could watch it, oh, Netflix, how disappointed I am in thee. So let me start by saying this. I canceled my Netflix subscription. I probably will be back, but I had to show a form of protest. So as I'm seeing the buffering, and it would pause on my television, it would pause at 25%. Then it would go to 26%. Then it would stay at 30% for 5 minutes. And I turned the Netflix off. I went back to my home screen. I went back to Netflix, 25%, 26%, 30%. And then I would get a screen that said, oh, you need to restart your router. You're having internet connections. My internet connection is blistering fast and very reliable, so I knew it wasn't me. So I sent a few text messages to folks that I knew were also watching the fight on Netflix, which is literally everybody that I knew, and everybody that I texted having the same problems. And then I went to Twitter, and it was all over Twitter, all of the profanities directed at Netflix because of first of all, the fight was blurry in some of the undercard fights, which I would say were probably more exciting than the actual main event. What's his name? Niraj Goyat of India dominated Wenderson Nunes of Brazil. That was actually a very entertaining fight. And then, of course, you had the women's undercard where Amanda Serrano clearly beat the Taylor woman, but that's another story. So the streaming quality was very, very poor. And I don't really watch Netflix that often. There's probably been a couple of times in the past where I have canceled my Netflix subscription, but I will restart the subscription if there's a particular series that I want to see or if there's a show that has a lot of hype and hoopla around it. But I don't really watch Netflix all that much. Most of the streaming services that I watch are on YouTube. So I'm disappointed by the quality. But then when the build up to the main event started, that is when the buffering took place. And it was through all of the previews. It was through all of the additional lead up to the fight. And I was extremely, extremely disappointed. Now, the good thing is, I don't know if there was any buffering or any stoppage of the streaming once the fight actually began. But at that point, it wouldn't even have mattered because the fight that we all thought we were going to see, classic, vintage Mike Tyson, which I thought was still somewhere in there. In that 58-year-old, probably suffering from pugilistic brain damage in his brain, a little bit, Mike Tyson. I thought the fight was still in there. If you watch the 3-part documentary series leading up to this fight, you saw a training regimen by Mike Tyson that was unlike anything I had ever seen. The other thing about Logan Paul, he didn't train nearly as hard. His training wasn't as sophisticated, it wasn't as tough, or at least they didn't show that in the documentary. Logan Paul lives a celebrity lifestyle. Boxing for him was just another endeavor. Or if you are a YouTuber, if you make content to try and get views, to try and shock and awe people so they continue to consume whatever it is you're producing, you have to go further and further and further and be more extreme, and more extreme. Eventually, you run out of stuff. And so I admire that young man, not only for getting in the ring with Mike Tyson, but to take on a new endeavor and to give himself a reinvigorated sense of fame. Now, am I going to follow him as a boxer? Probably not. Mike is an unusual cultural phenomenon for African-American men of a particular age. When Mike won his first heavyweight title, I think he beat Trevor Berbick. That must have been 1986. I was in 5th grade. And just excited because he was the youngest heavyweight champion in the world at the age of 20. And then to see his successive fights and to knock so many people out in the first round and just how mean and how vicious Mike was. Plus his story. Mike came from literally nothing. There are very few people that come from less than what Mike Tyson came from. And then, of course, the trouble he got in and all the women that he was with and his marriage to Robin Givens. There's a number of incredible documentaries about Mike Tyson's life that if you have not seen them, I highly suggest you should, especially if you're a Generation X black male. Mike was like a cult hero for us because he represented every bit and piece of adversity that can be thrown at a single man. Most human beings would not have been able to survive just the childhood that Mike Tyson had, let alone rise to boxing prominence and worldwide fame. Also, let this be a cautionary tale for those of you that think fame is something to be coveted. It usually isn't worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze because it tore Mike up. He already wasn't okay mentally. But I think the fame and the money and all the attention, and he was palling around with stars and all sorts of things that he never probably could have imagined because of his raw, natural talent combined with all of that anger, combined with his troubled background, made a specimen that oddly a lot of us could relate to. Mike was different. While he was certainly a villain, you rooted for Mike. When Mike got convicted for rape, that must have been in 1990. I have his timeline right here, but most of Mike's professional career, I have committed to memory because I was there for all of it. When Mike got sent to prison for rape, we were just like, oh, darn it, Mike. Instead of saying, oh, my God, he's a horrible person. He's a sexual predator. He forced himself on a woman, and he should go to jail. That's a violent crime. We were just thinking, like, so what does this mean for his boxing career when he comes out? Is he going to be okay in prison? He represented something for us. He was unique, though, because at the same time, you also had another towering sports figure, Michael Jordan, who was, and I would say to this day, remains the absolute untouched best basketball player of all time. Now, there can be some variation, and maybe there's some room for debate, but not much. Michael Jordan made you want to play basketball. It made you want to buy his shoes. It made you want to buy his jersey and all of his paraphernalia. It did. It made you want to get that Michael Jordan poster and put it up in your room. It made you want to go play basketball. Even to this day, if I ball up a piece of paper and I want to throw the piece of paper away and the waste paper basket is across the room, when I shoot it, I say, Jordan! I still say that to this day. Mike Tyson did not make me want to be a boxer because there was no way, even in my wildest imaginations as a child, I never would be as good as Mike Tyson. And imagine if I did, or any of us when we were growing up watching Mike Tyson fight, if we decided, oh, wow, I'm interested in boxing now because Mike Tyson is so great, I want to be like him. Even if you do take up the sport of boxing and you're really good and you move up through the ranks of the Golden Gloves and you move up through the different weight classes, at the end of your journey, you would have to fight Mike Tyson and he would kill you. So I didn't even want to waste my time pretending that I wanted to be a boxer because if I ever was that good, the person I'd have to meet at the very, very end of my journey to the top would be someone that would probably kill me in the ring. Did you guys watch the fight? And if so, what did you think? Did you keep your Netflix subscription? I canceled mine the very next morning. Now, I probably will sign up for it again, but I want to see how Netflix is going to make restitution for all of us that were very disappointed by the poor streaming quality and the buffering. It reminded me of days of dial-up internet. Remember how dial-up internet, if you'd be watching a video, it would get all choppy and then it would buffer? We are way past that. Get your mind right, Netflix. Our phone number here is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Were you terribly disappointed by the fight? Ultimately, I was, because Mike looked like a sad old man. He did. He did. That was Mike's Swan song, even though the evening, so in the ring after the fight was over, he didn't say that he was completely retired. He left it open. In fact, he challenged, what the boy's name is, Rick? It's the other brother, Logan Paul, the other one. He challenged him to a fight, which I thought was ridiculous. But then Mike sent a tweet, I believe, on Saturday morning or maybe on Sunday saying that he probably would be hanging it up. And I think that he should. In the event that Mike Tyson decides he wants to fight again, I tell you right now, I will not watch it. I will boycott that fight because Mike just looked old. He looked sad. He was a shell of the man that he used to be. I want to remember the old Mike. I remember the Mike that would knock you out in the first round. That man is long gone and long retired. Mike, please, before you hurt yourself or worse, stop boxing. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The Milwaukee Panthers are back in action Tuesday night as they head to Pittsburgh to take on the Duquesne University Dukes.
Lead ahead where Lyric Davis rises up to send it in. Again, the Panthers have Stillwell with 16. Franklin buries a 3 left at the top. He makes it 86-49. He's got 8.
Scott Warris has the coverage Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 6 o'clock.
We're getting close to awarding someone $10,000. It's the third Thursday networking event featuring the pitch competition, November 21st at Rain Event Lounge, 231 East Buffalo, 5 to 9 p.m. Hosted by the Wisconsin Black Chamber. It's the last chance to qualify for the pitch finale in December. Be there at 5 p.m. to register to compete. Registration to pitch is only open for 15 minutes, so be on time if you want a chance to be a finalist and compete in December for the $10,000 first place prize. The audience chooses the winner at the monthly event, so bring your family and friends to come support you. Let me say that again. The audience chooses the winner at the monthly event, so bring your family and friends to come support you. Third Thursday is not just about the pitch competition, though. There's life-changing networking opportunities, games, prizes, and music by DJ L Boogie. There is no cost to attend our Third Thursday event or compete in the pitch competition, so don't miss out. Rain Event Lounge, 231 East Buffalo, 5 to 9 p.m. Visit twbcc.com so you don't miss out on what we have going on.
This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon. Listen to The Truth all day, every day by downloading the Truth app or streaming on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Stitcher. Milwaukee Black Talk, 101.7 The Truth.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Literally one call, that's all. I made one call and that's all, worry-free.
One call, that's all. It worked.
Just one call and that's all.
They will do what they say they're going to do. One call and that's all.
One call, that's all means security.
It's literally one call, that's all.
It's a phrase we'll never forget. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Big C says, Sherwin, look at the rules of the fight. You'll understand it was a scam after watching the first round. I knew it was a fake fight, and I didn't want to watch any more of it. See, I didn't want to think that it was fake. It wasn't. Listen, Logan Paul is a skilled boxer. Why do I feel like I'm saying his name wrong? It is Logan Paul. Or am I getting the brother's name? Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Okay. The brother is Logan.
Yes.
All right. He's a skilled boxer. He fought technically. He also had a 6-inch reach advantage over Mike. He fought Mike Tyson the way you're supposed to fight Mike Tyson. Mike just never exploded. I don't know what it was, or the difference between the training regimen that I saw, because that was what was featured most prominently in the Netflix documentary, which I know was just made to build up to the fight. They actually were supposed to fight, I believe, earlier in the summer, but Mike was hospitalized with a stomach ulcer. That is when I had some suspicions that, maybe this thing is just for show, because I didn't think that the fight would then be rescheduled after Mike was hospitalized with a pretty bad stomach ulcer. But, of course, the fight was rescheduled. And maybe it was fake. Maybe it was somewhat of an exhibition. But I think that was the entertainment that we needed, especially after that very grueling election that we all just endured. And at some point, I'm going to talk about what Joe Biden's last days are going to look like in the White House. There's a lot of parallels and a lot of symbolism here. Mike Tyson in his advanced age getting in the ring with someone younger and essentially ending Mike Tyson's career. Potentially, I think he's tarnishing his legacy and his image because of the way that fight went and the way that Mike looked in the ring. He looked old. That was the saddest part. I had a deep level of sympathy for Mike. He looked old. He didn't have the energy. He didn't have the stamina. Side note, Rosie Perez should never call another boxing match in her entire life. How do you even find Rosie Perez to put her ringside to have her announcing the fight? That was another mistake. I wonder how much money she got paid. Rosie Perez? Well, I don't know. I don't think that they need to be doing that to Mike. I don't think that they need to be punching him like that. Terrible. Just one disappointment after another. Rodney says, you think that fight was bad? Wait until Black Friday. 2 NFL games broadcast. Netflix is going to get their act together. I don't think that they're going to allow that poor streaming quality to persist. But also, to their credit, they probably did not know how many people signed up for Netflix just to watch that fight. Because as I understand it, Netflix is not as popular of a streaming service, or it's not utilized as much as it was, say, some time ago. It was way more utilized during the pandemic, and a lot of folks left Netflix. I know I have been with them off and on for probably, my goodness, since I've been streaming on Roku, which has been probably 12 or 13 years. But they've raised the prices so many times that it's not worth it. Unless there are dedicated shows and series that you watch on Netflix, or specific movies or releases that you watch on Netflix, it's not worth it. But I could imagine, because back in the day, if you did a pay-per-view for one of these fights, my God, even in the 80s and the 90s, they were $50. So expensive, in fact, that people wouldn't even, purchase the fight at home. They would go to a bar, they'd go to some other event, some other location, some venue that already had the fight on. But for whatever Netflix costs, I think I pay $16.99 a month. Well, I paid $16.99 a month. I promptly canceled my membership on Saturday morning because of the poor streaming quality. I likely will be back on Netflix, but I had to send a message. See, that's how you boycott. You're dissatisfied with service, terminate your membership. Now, I thought that they would, because now you have to go through some steps when you cancel the Netflix. Successive steps. Are you sure? Well, tell us why. Are you sure? What did we do wrong? It's like when you try to cancel a subscription service, it's like you're breaking up with them. I thought there would be one of those, wait, before you go, would you like the next 2 years of Netflix for $2.99 a month? Netflix didn't do any of that. A lot of times they'll offer you a better deal right before that final step of cancellation, right before you click that last red button that says confirm cancellation. Netflix was like, sorry to see you go. Maybe we'll see you again. Goodbye. Sayonara. Felt kind of slighted. But I'm sure I'll be back. Big C says Sherwin Mike had to fight all the rounds in order to get his full pay. If he knocked him out in the first round, he would get no pay at all. Mike Tyson was incapable of knocking that young man out. He was incapable of it. So if Mike was that skilled of a fighter, just to be practical now, if he was that skilled of a fighter, Mike took some shots. His defense was poor. Jake Paul he's a skilled boxer. He is. Way more skilled than I gave him credit for. He played fantastic defense. Not to mention, did you guys see the number of punches that were thrown? Mike threw less than 100 punches. I just don't see the pride of Mike Tyson, knowing who he is, knowing what his legacy is, and knowing what the expectations are of him as a boxer, that he would essentially throw that fight. I just don't think that he would. I think that his age was evident when he was in the room, or in the ring rather, with a much, much younger, more skilled, dare I say, fighter. From ESPN, Mike Tyson wasted no time in making his mark as one of the greatest heavyweights in boxing history. He made his professional fighting debut in 1985 and proceeded to win his first 19 bouts by knockout, with 12 of those bouts not making it out of the first round. In 1986, he became the youngest boxer ever to win a heavyweight world title, a record that still stands to this day. Even when things weren't going his way, Tyson made history, such as when in 1990 he was defeated by James Buster Douglas in the biggest upset ever in boxing history. Here are the major milestones in Mike Tyson's storied career. June 27, 1981, wins his first boxing championship as a 15-year-old amateur, stopping heavyweight Joe Cortez in just 8 seconds to capture a gold medal at the Junior Olympics. He will win gold in 1982 as well. April 21, 1984, wins gold at the 91-kilogram weight at the National Golden Gloves, beating Jonathan Littles. My birthday, March 6, 1985. I turned 10. Mike makes his professional debut at the age of 18, knocking out Hector Mercedes at the 1-minute 47 mark of round 1 at Plaza Convention Center in Albany, New York. November 22nd, 1986, knocks out WBC champion Trevor Berbick in the second round to run his record 28-0, round his record rather to 28-0, and became the youngest champ in heavyweight history at the age of 20 years, 145 days. March 7, 1987, one fight later, adds the WBA title with a unanimous decision win over James Bone Crusher Smith. I remember that fight. August 1, 1987, retains the WBA and WBC titles and adds the IBF belt by winning a unanimous decision over Tony Tucker. This makes him the first heavyweight to own all 3 major title belts. October 18, 1987, Nintendo releases Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Oh, we all played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, a favorite of middle school and high school age boys all across the world. The boxing arcade game would go on to sell more than 2 million copies by the end of 1988, making it one of the most popular games of that time. January 22nd, 1988, knocks out legendary former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes in the 4th round. Lured out of retirement at age 38 by a $2.8 million purse, Holmes suffers the only knockout defeat of what at the time was a 51-fight career. Holmes retires again after the loss, but later will come back for 24 more fights before quitting for good in 2002. What's so sad, though, and I'm not even talking about how Don King screwed over everybody, including Mike Tyson, and probably mentally screwed Mike up more than he already was. And Mike didn't have a lot of mentals to give now. Mike was already kind of hanging on by a thread, and Don King didn't help none. When boxers have to come out of retirement to make money, that is horrendously sad. And I'd like to think that there needs to be some kind of pension for these guys or something, because they're clearly not good with money. A lot of these guys are not very intelligent. They get manipulated and taken advantage of by everybody, by promoters, by their lawyers, by their accountants. It is sad. And this is, well, it's in its purest form, it is the sweet science. Boxing, to me, pure athleticism. It is pure. It's hand-eye coordination, it's speed, it's strength, it's agility, it's stamina unlike anything I've ever seen. If you've ever gone to a gym, or if you've ever trained just for your fitness, and if you've ever done boxing drills or hit the heavy bag for 3 minutes straight, right? Dodging and ducking and weaving. It is so physically exhausting, it defies words. Like boxing, the stamina that you need, the conditioning that you need it's more than soccer, it's more than basketball, it's more than football. It is an incredibly tiring endeavor. And to be able to go 8 rounds, 12 rounds, even though this was an 8-round fight with 2-minute rounds, it takes a tremendous amount of conditioning. June 27, 1988, Mike Tyson knocks out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds in the richest fight in boxing history at the time. Although Tyson came in with all of his belts, Ring Magazine and others considered Spinks the lineal champ. After the knockout, Spinks never fought again. February 11, 1990, suffers the first loss of his career in a 10th round TKO at the hands of 42-1 betting underdog James Buster Douglas. Tyson's career and life had fallen into disarray following the Spinks fight. He had fired his longtime trainer, and his preparation for Douglas was said to be lacking. He also got screwed up when Custom Auto died as well. That screwed Mike up pretty bad as well. February 10, 1992, I was in the 11th grade. Mike Tyson convicted of rape in Indianapolis. The charge stemming from Tyson's appearance at the Miss Black America pageant. Bad idea. to have Mike at the Miss Black America pageant. Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be fired, too. Mike met 18-year-old contestant Desiree Washington. Tyson will spend the next 3 years in prison. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'm going through the illustrious career of Mike Tyson, which we can say unequivocally is now over. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 101.7 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
An integrated strategy, including infrastructure, community involvement, education, enforcement, and legislative reforms. Yeah, we've kind of heard that before already. It can correct pretty much anything, right? They use it for everything except reckless driving in Milwaukee. I want you to consider this now. Expand the number of police officers in neighborhoods where reckless driving is happening, punish with fines, extended license suspensions, use speed and red light cameras. We need to inform people about the repercussions of reckless driving, and then we need to follow through with punishment. We need to continue to build speed bumps, roundabouts, narrow the lanes to help traffic slow down, and while you're at it, designate some space for bicycles and pedestrians only. We need to encourage the use of mobile apps to report reckless driving since you're on your phone anyway. And finally, promote local and state legislation that successfully combats irresponsible driving. Yeah, we've heard that before, but no. Just enforce the laws we already have on the books. And by combining this, Milwaukee drivers can enjoy a safe environment that lowers reckless driving, all the risks that come with it. Why? Well, this needs to be the Common Council and the city's primary focus. So perhaps next time there won't be that, dead on arrival traffic bill in Milwaukee Common Council or that traffic bill in state legislature. But then if you're driving, you might want to be careful. I mean, the next thing that's dead on arrival could be you.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Can't win even an 8-round boxing match if you only throw 97 punches. Landed, 18 or 19 punches? I don't know what that was. Was that a part of it being rigged for those of you that are conspiracy theorists who think that the fight was rigged? 97 punches is ridiculous. Paul threw something like just under 300 punches and landed a higher percentage. They were no match for each other. I just thought I was going to see something different. But I guess that's what advertising and promotion and a sense of nostalgia can do. I thought that I was watching or would see a Mike Tyson that was some 40 years younger than what we actually saw. Let's see, what do we got here? Where do we leave off? August 19th, 1995. In his first boxing match after being released from prison, Tyson wins in the first round when Peter McNeely is disqualified after his manager enters the ring while McNeely is being battered. March 16th, 1996, Tyson regains the WBC title with a third-round KO of Frank Bruno. September 7th, that same year, 1996, adds the WBA title by knocking out Bruce Seldon in round 1, November 9, 1996. Mike had a busy 1996. That's 3 fights. Oh, he lost, though. Lost November 9th, 1996. Mike lost the WBA title to out-of-retirement Evander Holyfield by an 11th round TKO. Oh, this gets good with the Holyfields. June 28th, 1997. Tyson loses again to Holyfield, this time by third-round disqualification after he bites Holyfield on both ears. The first bite draws a 2-point deduction. Why didn't they stop the fight after the first bite? Do y'all remember that? I remember it plain as day. I was watching it by my guy's house on the east side. Mike bit that man's ear, a bit of piece, and you remember he spit it in the ring, and just to see Evander Holyfield, you got to keep in mind, these boxers have a really high threshold for pain, okay? Evander Holyfield is wincing in pain and is jumping up and down because he lost a piece of his ear. Why they didn't stop that fight, I have no idea. The first bite draws a 2-point deduction, and the second ends the bout. The Nevada State Athletic Commission withholds a portion of Tyson's purse and later rescinds his boxing license, which later would be restored. March 29, 1998, during his hiatus from boxing, which was only about 9 months, Tyson appears at WrestleMania 14, as an enforcer for the main event between Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tyson later reveals that he has paid $3 million for that appearance. January 16, 1999, returning to boxing, Tyson knocks out Francois Botha in the first round. I remember that fight. February 5, 1999, sentenced to prison again, this time for being convicted for assaulting 2 motorists after a traffic accident. Tyson serves 9 months. October 20th, 2000, in his 4th bout following his release from prison, Tyson knocks out Andrew Galata in the 3rd round. The result is later changed to a no contest after Tyson fails a post-fight drug test for marijuana. June 8, 2002, in the final championship fight of his career, Tyson challenges Lennox Lewis for the WBC, IBF, and IBO and lineal titles and loses by 8th round knockout. The bout is held in Memphis, Tennessee, after the Nevada Commission and other states declined to grant Tyson his boxing license. But the event attracts 1.95 million pay-per-view buys, a record since eclipsed by 4 Floyd Mayweather fights, February 22nd, 2003. In the final victory of his career, Tyson knocks out Clifford Etienne in 49 seconds. Do not remember that fight, and why would I? It was only 49 seconds long. May 29, 2003, Mike Tyson files for bankruptcy amid media reports that after having earned over $300 million during his career, Tyson was $23 million in debt. June 11, 2005, quits on his stool before the 7th round to lose to Kevin McBride in the final bouts of his professional boxing career. The next year, October 20th, 2006, launching what he calls Mike Tyson's World Tour to pay off debts, Tyson engages in a 4-round exhibition against Corey Sanders in Youngstown, Ohio. Because the event is not a fan draw, the rest of the tour is then canceled. November 28th, 2020, Tyson has an exhibition bout against fellow retired former champion Roy Jones Jr., and after 8 rounds, it is declared a draw. March 7th, 2024, it was announced that Mike Tyson would return to the ring for a boxing match against Paul on July 20th at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. The fight would be streamed on Netflix. Jake Paul cruised to a unanimous decision over Mike Tyson in a fight where the 27-year-old YouTuber turned prize fighter defeated a 58-year-old heavyweight legend. It was a generational clash that drew more than 70,000 fans at AT&T Stadium to the tune of an $18.1 million gate and streamed live on Netflix to hundreds of millions of viewers across the planet amid buffering problems throughout the broadcast. In-ring action may not have thoroughly entertained those watching, but it delivered a once-in-a-lifetime pop culture experience. Now that the dust has settled and the fight has left many unsatisfied due to the lack of action, where do Paul and Tyson go from here? Tyson looked every bit his age against Paul. Between the knee brace and curiously gnawing at his gloves, Tyson didn't appear to have much to offer. The CompuBox stats proved the former champ's current state as Tyson landed a mere 18 punches out of the 97 thrown over the course of the night. The 8 two-minute rounds, he never landed more than 4 punches in any one round and failed to connect on the 4th and 6th rounds. So do y'all think that was just staged? That he just was holding back? Because Paul was not holding back. But Tyson managed to make it out of the fight on his feet, assisted a bit by Paul, who admitted to taking his foot off the gas in the middle rounds when he saw the former champion was spent. Tyson leaves with his dignity and a hefty bag of cash. He'll remember that defeating ovation he received during his walkout, and will be reminded that he is one of the most exciting athletes in all of American history. But Tyson also left the door open to returning to boxing again in the ring. I don't think so, Tyson said when asked after the match if he would stop fighting. I don't know. Maybe his little brother, Logan. Truthfully, nobody should want to see anything like this again because it is impossible to live up to the expectations, especially when you consider how lethargic Tyson looked against an opponent 31 years his junior. However, money talks, and there will always be room for convincing fans that an iconic figure like Tyson has a chance. I think Mike should go on a tour. I think he should talk to youth. I think he should inspire youth. And I think with whatever money he has, and I hope he has more than just the $20 million purse that he won on Friday night, hopefully he's able to put some of that away. He gets an investor behind him, and then he can create a series of Mike Tyson gyms all over the country. And you get people that are interested in either potentially fighting or just the fitness of it. I think he could license his name. That, I think, is still of some value. The name itself is of tremendous worth. As much as I hate to say this, so is the name Trump. When Trump filed for bankruptcy, I don't know which time it was, when the bank foreclosed on a number of his Trump-titled properties, the bank did not remove Trump's name from those foreclosed properties. Even though Trump didn't own the properties anymore, they were now property of the bank. Donald Trump's name on those buildings still brought a tremendous amount of value. I think there's some kind of licensing deal that Mike could get where he could continue to make money and get some revenue without ever having to return to the ring. Because I don't want to see him fight again. I really don't. Paul, for better or worse, has proved to be the biggest draw in boxing after Friday's spectacle. Between his ability to pull emotion out of fans by playing the heel and his growing boxing skill set that has kept him afloat by winning a majority of his fights, Paul's unlikely rise in the sport isn't going to die anytime soon. However, how much longer can he fight the over-the-hill opponents whose best years are behind them? So what I understand about Jake Paul's boxing career is he fought a number of MMA, either retired or former MMA fighters, the mixed martial arts sport. And what I know about MMA, those guys are grapplers, they are wrestlers, they are skilled in a number of different martial arts, including jiu-jitsu. MMA fighters are not always boxers. In fact, the boxing in most MMA fights is very short-lived. These guys would rather be on the ground grappling. So Paul making his escalation through the boxing world by fighting less than skilled, very athletic, but less than skilled MMA fighters, I don't know if that's really the test that proves he is actually a dominant athlete in the boxing ring. Sooner or later, the jig will be up still. Paul is smart enough to know just how long he can play this game and prey on the curiosity of fans. He still yearns to be a world champion, and while challenging Canelo Alvarez to a boxing match still seems ridiculous, so did a sanctioned boxing match with Tyson that not only came to fruition, but became one of the biggest boxing events of all time. All right, guys. So hopefully there'll be no more Mike Tyson in the boxing ring, but I do think that there's something else that he could do. He's a podcaster. Keep podcasting, Mike, and may God be with him. I'm going to take a break. We're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
The majority of rich white families and rich white people got rich off of slavery and have that same money today in their families that they hand down. It's not that we don't want to work. We weren't able to start businesses back in the day. So when you are able to start a business and we can't, and your family business goes from generation to generation and ours doesn't, whose fault is that?
Listen to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships in building out your dream, and then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
Looking for a fun family activity to get into the holiday spirit? Visit or volunteer for Capco's Kids to Kids Toy Drive in Grafton on Saturday, December 7th. The event is free and we will have lots of fun activities. Capco is dedicated to bring communities together and has collected over 300,000 toys through Kids to Kids. Join us and WTMJ for a celebration of giving and bring a new unwrapped toy to help children in need this holiday season. Support Kids to Kids. Visit kidstoKidstoydrive.com.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Even though the results of the November 5th election are disappointing, and that's an understatement, there is a silver lining. There is some very good news. And I hope that this silver lining and this good news continues on this trajectory, because as I'm looking at the voter turnout in the city of Milwaukee, it is beyond impressive. In fact, it is awe-inspiring. What I'm going to try and do is figure out in the upcoming elections that we have, we've got 3 MPS school board elections that are coming up with primaries in February of 2025. And general elections on April 1st. I just think it's a horrible idea to have an election on April Fool's Day because some of y'all ain't going to believe it, but here we are. There's also a state Supreme Court race on that same day, primary also on the same date, where Justice Ann Walsh Bradley is not seeking re-election. there are two individuals who have decided they're going to throw their hat in the ring to run for that open Wisconsin State Supreme Court seat. Those are 10-year terms. I want to try and make my conversations and discussions about those school board races and the state Supreme Court races as interesting as I possibly can, and find different ways to bring more understanding of those races, especially the school board, because a lot of decisions are going to be made about the school district in the next calendar year. The Republicans in the state legislature, which do still have a tremendous amount of impact on the budget, are likely going to make some drastic and, dare I say, draconian cuts to the district just because of all of these successive failures that the district has illustrated. And here's the thing, they're failures in light of receiving all of the money that the district has asked for, literally every penny, going back to that original $87 million referendum in April of 2020. In that amount of time, including all of the COVID dollars, all of the ARPA dollars, including the $252 million that was fairly recently approved this past year by voters in the city of Milwaukee, MPS has had $750 million all told, maybe even $1 billion, and there has been no measurable improvements. Now here's the thing. Now the community's got to take a role in this as well. But when they tell us and they promise us and they reassure us that if we just get these additional resources, we can have smaller class sizes, we can have more specialists, we'll be able to really focus on improving student achievements and reading comprehension, we as a public want to believe that. They have gaslit us out of our money. Not to mention we're dealing with an increase in our property taxes in this upcoming City of Milwaukee budget. Not to mention if you live in the City of Milwaukee, you are paying 2.4% more for goods and services because we needed the sales tax increase to deal with pension costs and pension obligations. And if we are not making at least modest improvements in student performance, the Republicans would be justified in wanting to do something drastic to the district. So that being said, MPS is going to look a lot different. I don't know how it's going to look different, but it will. And the Republicans are going to want to make their last stand because they are soon to lose their legislative majorities in the Wisconsin State Senate and in the Wisconsin State Assembly because of the new maps that were drawn. So the Republicans are likely going to want to do something really, really painful to the district just to show that all the money that they have received from taxpayers has not panned out, and the district is probably going to suffer. Now, I don't know who the candidates are that will challenge some of the MPS incumbents, but I know this much. They've already called our bluff with, earlier this year, there was a school board recall, and rightfully so, because if parents are not happy with the performance of the district, whether it be discipline, whether it be the lack of performance, whether it be just a general poor amount of customer service that parents are receiving from the district, or non-responsiveness from teachers, from administrators, from board members, there is serious anger there. And then we get the state report card where MPS is constantly on the absolute bottom. And then Jill Underly, who is up for re-election as well next year. She is the state superintendent of the Department of Public Instruction. She has essentially adjusted how we create standards. So even though students are doing poor, they've changed the vernacular to where students that are doing poor, the way they describe it now, well, they're not doing that bad. We need to have tougher standards for our students, not changing the terminology that essentially makes it palatable that our children are failing. And here's why I worry. The black community has a lot to complain about. And if we are not making steady improvements in every aspect of our lives, and especially in the lives of young people, then black people are going to get counted out of the workforce. And I've long warned about this. And all of that energy that they had behind the recall effort, which showed that there was some impetus to do something politically at the school board level, I hope we can keep that same energy moving into the school board elections in the year 2025. I'm looking at voter turnout for November 5th. It is astonishing how y'all voted for president. Voter turnout in the city of Milwaukee, y'all, was 85%. That's unheard of. I don't know if we have ever at least since I've been following politics, seen 85% of the registered voters cast ballots in any election. That is impressive. Now, here's the thing. I do not want to see a drop-off of this 85%. We should be voting in the city of Milwaukee, considering all that is at stake. There's more at stake now because Trump is going to have an impact on everything, on the courts, on the Food and Drug Administration, on housing and urban development, on the Department of the Interior. You name it, there will be an impact felt here in the city of Milwaukee. We have to make sure that we are voting at this high of a number. Otherwise, we are too easily dismissed. This is the only way the city of Milwaukee can actually be any kind of a threat, and that's with high voter turnout numbers. You listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Truth Nation, let us take a second to brag for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like President Joe Biden.
Black child poverty was cut in half in 2021. We built black wealth, 15 million jobs nationwide, more than 2.5 million for black Americans. Black wealth is up 60% since the pandemic.
Former President Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump.
Guys, we almost had a former president and very likely future president assassinated on live TV. Like, you know what that would have done for this country? You know what that would have made our country look like? We would look like a banana republic.
And Brewers all-star and former National League MVP Christian Yelich.
Listen, you already know.
Yeah, we got we were just in LA, so we heard our fair share of Kendrick out there in LA. Dodger Stadium has one of the best sound systems in baseball too.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 1017 The Truth by downloading the Truth app, listening live on 1017thetruth.com, and streaming us live at 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'm encouraged by the voter turnout that I saw in the city of Milwaukee. The reason why a lot of people are disappointed with the elected officials that we have, I hear this a lot from African Americans, especially at the local level. We seem to think, and I'm starting to understand why people say what they say, and it became evident during the presidential campaign when people all of a sudden pretended to really care about policy. This was a policy election. Well, we like Donald Trump's policies, and Kamala Harris doesn't have any policies, and where does she stand on the issues? As a political junkie myself, I like hearing that talk. But also come to realize that people don't know what policy is and how it's made, all the difficult and arduous steps that are necessary to get an idea into an actual piece of legislation that is considered law. A lot of people they don't know what policy is and how it actually works. You all seem to think that policy is just somebody saying something. They say they're going to do this. They say they're going to deport 11 million people. They say they're going to get inflation in check. Those are platitudes. Actually creating policy from platitude is a whole orchestra of things that must go right, and rarely do they ever. But I'm glad that more people were starting to get a better understanding, because in 108 days, it was a sprint. And that's really what that last presidential election was. It was 108 days. It was a very, very short period of time for a vice president to explain who she is, explain what she's about, without mentioning her race and her gender, without getting bogged down in all the other nonsensical details. How is she going to move this country forward? 108 days is not enough. But when I hear our people here locally say that our elected officials aren't doing anything, they're not doing anything, we got to stop saying that, especially as African Americans, because when we say that, we are literally admitting that we don't know what they do. And if I ask somebody, and I've done it before, what does a county supervisor do? What does a county executive do? What does the mayor actually do? People don't know. So you can't say that somebody isn't doing something if you don't know what it is that they do. And even if they are in the community every single day, because there's some elected officials who are very community forward. They're out there all the time. But that doesn't mean that they are actually creating ordinances that are solving problems. And some of y'all will think because you see your alder person or you see your county supervisor at an event or at a meeting that they're actually doing something. No, they're not. In fact, I'd rather not see them. If I don't see them, that means that they are actually working with their colleagues and trying to put together something meaningful. 85.05% registered voters total in the city of Milwaukee, 292,776. Ballots cast, 249,007. Voter turnout, 85.05%. Democratic candidate for president, Kamala Harris, and her running mate, Tim Walz, received 191,397 votes. Republican candidate for president and his running mate, J.D. Vance, received 51,691 votes. That is about a 76% turnout for Kamala Harris. And then, of course, you have the other third party, fourth party. They get so few votes. I don't even know why people run for third party and fourth party. And for those of you that think that there's some kind of salvation in the American political system with a third party candidate, you would be sadly mistaken, because they will not have any representation or any backing or any support in Congress, and that is where the policy actually gets made. If we got 85% voter turnout in the city of Milwaukee for a school board election, just as one example. Now, we won't get it because for some reason, how our money is spent on educating the future workforce of this city is actually less important for some reason than who we elect as president. Think about that for a second. That's ridiculous. The people that we are trying to educate so they can keep Milwaukee thriving and moving forward, like electing people that will have influence and impact over how our curriculum looks, over the pedagogy, on where we invest money, on what schools we close, on what schools we open, and how we reimagine education in the 21st century, a quarter century into the 21st century, is of less importance than who occupies the White House. Now, look, I get it. Occupying the White House is extremely important when it comes to large-scale matters and the long-term future of all 50 states, U.S. territories, and our foreign interests. I get that. But we're talking about a workforce right here at home. I made this comment when we did a Truth on Politics. We did a couple of them this past year. And I asked Dr. Ken where he was from. Proudly said, South Side of Chicago. Proud of it. I asked my colleague, Denise Thomas, where she was from. She said, where is she from? Indiana, Evanston, Indiana. Of course, I asked where Telly Hughes, where he hails from. East St. Louis, Missouri. Our lovely friend, colleague, Bailey Coleman from Seattle, Washington. And I asked Torrey Lowe where he was from. Milwaukee. I'm from Milwaukee. Benjamin Hooks. Where you from, Benjamin? He's from Racine. And right there, that was the example. This is a Milwaukee Black Talk radio station with the majority of the people that work here, or at least the on-air hosts, are not from here. There will be more of that in the future, and I'm trying to warn against it. So if we are not figuring out, I don't know how we figure it out. Because here's the thing, other cities have done it. Other cities have had school systems that have been in more dire straits than MPS, but they figured out how to turn it around. Once communities realize that the children that you educate in your public schools are the future innovators, entrepreneurs, elected officials, and the workforce of your city, you look at them differently. They're not problems to be solved. These children are leaders to be cultivated, but we don't see that. And if we don't see that, then the jobs that are filled in this city, the coveted jobs, the important jobs, the highly skilled jobs, we're going to have to recruit people from other parts of the country. And as a proud Milwaukeean, and I got to say I'm proud because I committed myself to this city many years ago. Sometimes I regret it. I could have went and lived all over the place, but I'm stuck here. So I said, all right, if I'm going to be stuck here, then let me make this city the best I possibly can. So this is where my commitments are. But if we do not figure out how to create an educational and developmental environment for young people, they're not going to have any opportunities here. They may go elsewhere, but we're still going to need jobs to be filled. And they're going to be filled by immigrants, right? Or people that we got to invite here from other cities and other states that do have an educational paradigm that allows their students to go on to higher education and assume highly skilled jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So Milwaukee is going to lose. Let's see what else we got here. Democrat Tammy Baldwin, candidate for U.S. Senate, received 190,827 votes. Republican Eric Hovde received 47,273 votes. So that is an interesting dynamic there. So Tammy Baldwin came within 1,000 votes of Kamala Harris's total. Kamala Harris got 100. This is in the city of Milwaukee, not statewide, just our city, not even Milwaukee County, just the city. Kamala Harris gets 191,397 votes. Tammy Baldwin gets 1,000 votes less than that. So there was 1,000 people that voted for Kamala Harris that did not vote for Tammy Baldwin. Out of like just under 400,000 votes cast, that's actually a pretty good percentage for Tammy Baldwin. So it seems like Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin ran as a unified ticket. What I find interesting, though, is that Donald Trump in the city of Milwaukee got 51,691 votes. Eric Hovde got 47,273 votes. Think about this for a second. Donald Trump did not appear on The Truth, ever. And I would like to think that we, during this most recent election cycle, we were the go-to place to get your election information. If you wanted to hear from local elected officials, if you wanted to hear from the candidates themselves, if you wanted to hear from their surrogates, you came here because we featured all of that on just about all of our shows throughout damn near the whole calendar year of 2024. Donald Trump not appearing on The Truth, he actually got more votes in the city of Milwaukee. Eric Hovde, who was a well-known commodity on this radio network, did worse. Now, I'm going to attribute that to Eric Hovde as a person, especially as someone who, my personal opinion, too heavily relied on the African American vote in an election cycle, right, that was more favorable to black people, black men in particular, voting for a Republican. Eric Hovde screwed it up. And I think that there's something that is missed by candidates that want to take advantage of a burgeoning African American electorate. You have to understand, black people, what we want and where we are coming from, and you only get that by spending legitimate time in our community. We used to accuse the Democrats of just coming around during election time. That's a Republican thing now. Y'all ain't going to hear from Don Jr. and Eric Trump now that Donald Trump has been reelected. In fact, you're not going to hear from any Republicans because they have zero interest in talking to and working with our community. They just don't, and which is unfortunate. I used to accuse the Democrats. We all did. Oh, the Democrats only come around when it's election time. You are not going to see Eric Hovde on The Truth 10 times in the span of 3 months, regardless of where his future takes him. You would think that he would still want to be, available and still want to communicate with the people that did give him 47,273 votes. But he's going to be mad, angry, and vindictive because he didn't win. If we got 85% voter turnout in every single election, the city of Milwaukee will look different. I hear your frustration with our current elected officials because we solely blame our overall diminished condition as black people. And it's not that bad. I just think people see the bad things and they exacerbate it. But we have the elected officials that we have because of what our turnout is in aldermanic races, in county supervisor races, in county executive races. You would get a whole new type and style of candidate if 85% of the people in this town voted in school board elections, aldermanic elections, et cetera, et cetera. The people who I believe would be the absolute best in every single position, the tireless fighters, the relentless folk that want a better Milwaukee, they will not get any sleep and get any rest until we can all see measurable, tangible improvement. Those people will never win because voter turnout is too low. It's the people that don't vote that will elect the best candidates. You got to let that sink in. We've got incredible talents in this city. And a lot of it is wasted. A lot of folks leave Milwaukee because their talent is not recognized because of all the hate. I don't know what it is about us hating successful people. It's so self-defeating. This is and I'm going to say a blanket statement right now because I can. As far as a black community goes, we are the least congratulatory group of people I've ever seen in my life. I want everybody to win because when everybody else wins, it's not like I'm losing. Hell, the way I see it, if everybody around me is winning, if everybody that I know, everybody in my circle, inner circle, outer circle, everybody, people I touch, people I don't touch, if they're all winning, Sherwin is going to win too. That's right, because I'm surrounded by winners, and a little bit of their win is going to rub off on me. A little bit of their win is going to be a benefit to all of us. We're the least congratulatory. It's sad. There's some good folks out there, and I would love to see them run for office, but they wouldn't win because all of the people that stay on the sidelines, like those are the folks that are very angry and they're very frustrated. If they turn their anger and their frustration into actual political power, then the people that we want to see in elected office would win. Right now, we get the people that can win with 10% voter turnout. That's a whole different kind of candidate. That's a whole different kind of campaign. Someone that can win with 10 or 15, or if we're lucky, 20 or 25% voter turnout, they don't need to talk to everybody because it'd be a waste of their time. You cannot, I'm just being practical here, you cannot talk to 100% of the eligible voters if 20% of them are going to actually turn out. You're wasting your time. And campaigns have limited resources. They have a limited amount of money. They got a limited amount of volunteers. They got a limited amount of time. You cannot waste your time in whatever district, aldermanic district, state assembly district, state senate district, talking to 100% of the voters, but only 20% of them are going to turn out. So they have to work within the very small confines of that 20%. And the 20% that go out and vote, they know the system, they understand the system, they know what is at stake. Those 20% that turn out in these elections, they're very well versed when it comes to civics. They know what policy is. They know what ordinances are. They know what they want. These are also the people that are much more likely to call their alderman's office, much more likely to call their county supervisor's office, much more likely to call the mayor, call the county executive, to call their state rep, to call their state senator, because they are engaged. Now, what do we have to do? Aside from spending $1.8 billion on a campaign, what do we have to do to get people engaged in the elections that I believe are far more important than a presidential contest? Because we're talking about our daily lives here. A president can appoint someone secretary of the Department of Education. The Department of Education can, in some circumstances, issue grants to Wisconsin, issue grants to our Milwaukee public schools where we can invest that money in students, but that's very limited. It's not like the daily work of board members, teachers, administrators, et cetera, et cetera. Our State Department of Public Instruction superintendent, they have the maximum impact, but for some reason our voter turnout is the lowest. So for those of you that are frustrated with the current elected officials that we have, these are people that can win with diminished voter turnout. And I'm going to be on y'all about this 85% voter turnout in the city of Milwaukee because I know that we can do it. And by us falling off, okay, we can't blame nobody for that because we've shown what is possible. And I guarantee you there's other people, other political interests that are looking at the city of Milwaukee like, holy smokes, Milwaukee voted at 85%, and that frightens them. Because there's a number of folks that simply will not get reelected if we vote in that number in subsequent elections. So my pledge to you is I'm going to find a way to deliver information in a way that makes more sense, where we can increase voter interest and voter engagement in some of these lower tiered local elections so that we can encourage a new crop of people to want to run for office. Because the best people that would be the best stewards of our tax dollars and those that would create some tangible political change, they're not going to waste their time running for office because they're going to get beat 90 to 10%. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. The Milwaukee Panthers are back in action Tuesday night as they head to Pittsburgh to take on the Duquesne University Dukes.
Lead ahead where Lyric Davis rises up to send it in. Again, the Panthers have Stillwell with 16. Franklin buries a 3 left at the top. He makes it 86-49. He's got 8.
Scott Warris has the coverage Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 6 o'clock.
The Wisconsin Black Chamber presents Black Friday Weekend Diverse Business Expo, Friday, November 29th through Sunday, December 1st. We kick off Friday at 10 a.m. Be there to meet the Powerhouse Business Panel, learn their journey to success, and participate in a Q&A with these successful local business owners. The after party starts at 6:30 with the Legends of Soul, featuring the music of Frankie Beverly and Mays and Quincy Jones, performed by Christopher's Project. Saturday is the Black Chamber Music Fest starting at 10 a.m. with 7 musical performances by local bands. Then the after party starts at 7. Don't miss Poetry Unplugged with Kwabena Nixon. Sunday, the Wisconsin Black Chamber presents the Exposure Fashion Affair starting at noon. If you need some style or want a style of your own, be here. Check out Milwaukee's stylists and designers and join us for the after party. It's Divas of Soul, performed by Christopher's Project. Friday and Saturday, attend the Access to Capital workshops, and all weekend long, jam to the sounds of DJ L Boogie, meet TV and radio personalities, win some great prizes in the raffles, and don't forget to bring a toy for the toy drive. Don't miss out on what we have going on.
Your drink, sir?
This virtual vacation is brought to you by Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport. For the full experience, visit flymke.com to explore our many nonstop destinations. With super convenient parking and low fares, flying from Milwaukee makes traveling so easy, it's like starting your vacation early. Fly easy, fly MKE.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I don't know why we're playing this song on a Monday. I guess we got paid on Friday, I guess. Senate Democrats are racing to confirm up to 30 federal judges nominated by Joe Biden to avoid leaving vacancies that could be filled by Donald Trump when he retakes the White House. All right. As I'm looking at this congressional calendar, the last day the House of Representatives is in session is November 20th. Now, I need to find out when is the last day of official business for the U.S. Senate, because the loophole that will allow Donald Trump to appoint the most unfit cabinet in the history of the Republic may be done by what is called recess appointment. Recess appointment is when the Senate, that advised and consensual body, is on a break for 10 days or more. The president does not have to wait for the Senate to go back into session to fill necessary positions to keep our federal government running. So they get to sidestep the interview process and the vetting process of U.S. senators, you know, some of those grueling interviews that they do publicly. They get to sidestep all of that if the U.S. Senate is on recess. If the Senate calendar is something similar to the House of Representatives calendar, and I'd imagine that it is, because, you know, members of Congress don't really work on holidays. And there's going to be some transitioning because we just had an election. If the Senate is done with official business, let's say next week, the week of Thanksgiving, then they don't come back into session until January 6th, 2025. But Joe Biden is president until January 20th, 2025. Do you follow me here? There are at least 30, I've heard as many as 40, for some reason I can't find the exact number, of federal district benches that are vacant that Joe Biden is still able to appoint people. This is extremely important because in the event that Donald Trump does something unconstitutional, or if legislation is passed out of a majority Republican House or a majority Republican Senate, because you know that Donald Trump has the trifecta, it is these federal district judges that can stop these laws from taking effect. Joe Biden still has the ability to put dozens of left-leaning, liberal, anti-Trump judges on the federal bench, including the appellate courts, so the district courts and the appeals courts, and he needs to do that. But I don't know why the Democrats are not talking about Joe Biden using recess appointments. Something's is going on now. We need to hear more from Joe Biden. Apparently, did y'all see this over the weekend? Within the last couple of days, Joe Biden went to the damn rainforest, and they showed pictures of him wandering around in the rainforest looking like he was lost. I don't know what's going on. I think they're over here pretending that the world is not on fire. The Biden-Harris administration. And this is still the Biden-Harris administration. Let's talk to Security Mike. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Sean? You know, I didn't catch you most of the week, but I caught you over the weekend. And yesterday, Zech had the nerve to call in. He's going to try to check you and say, are you going to talk about this for the next 4 years? And I'm glad you checked him and said, yeah. You keep everybody posted on what's going on, because when they make a mistake, when he screw up, we want them to come at Trump and them with the same energy and how mad they got at the Democrats about everything, because that's what's going to happen. So I'm glad you put down in this place, and you got to keep it up. You got to keep it up. What else is there to talk about? He's filling his cabinet with all these racist guys. So what they think is going to happen to us? And I couldn't understand that you couldn't listen to Trump and tell what he was talking about when he was talking about taxing colleges and stuff like that. How come the other hosts couldn't put that together and see that he was talking about giving them the taxes? You ain't got to be too bright to figure that out. Ricky, when you said that, we ain't going to say, well, he didn't say that. Yes, he did, and that's what he meant. He's going to take the taxes and give it to them. They're going to get reparations. And they was talking about that all year long. Other hosts was talking about that all year long, about the reparations. This guy don't think we deserve any. Watch how bad it's going to be. But keep that energy up, Sherwin. Keep that energy up, because we want them to be just as mad at the Republicans as mad as they were with the Democrats. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate your call, Mike. Well, I have an obligation to report things as they happen. I'm going to give my editorial twist to things. I'm going to do my darndest to make it digestible for people that I'm not blaming y'all. Folks just really started paying attention and really started engaging with policy. Of course, I'm going to talk about these things as they happen. What I know about covering a Trump administration, because I was on the air during Donald Trump's first term, it's something every single day. What I appreciated about Joe Biden is there wasn't something every single day that needed to be discussed. There wasn't a fire that Joe Biden was starting. There wasn't some controversy. There wasn't a damn scandal every single day. Some days I just forgot about old Joe. Didn't even think about him at all. In fact, it got so relaxed for a while in this country. Some days on this program, we just talked about relationships because we didn't have to worry about the world ending under Joe Biden's leadership. Let's talk to the official poet laureate of 1017 The Truth, Mr. J.D. Masters. J.D., I got your message last night that you have a poem you would like to recite for us.
Yeah, it's called Well-Educated Racists, because these people that he's appointing, a lot of them went to Ivy League schools, and that's going to be the new face of racism. It ain't no tobacco chewing man sitting on some porch in Mississippi. It's somebody that went to Harvard or Yale, or some woman that is highly astute and is ready to dismantle America as we know it for blacks, people in the LGBTQ community, the disabled, veterans. We got a veteran that hates veterans. Imagine that. So this is the piece, Well-Educated Racist. The ringleader went to Penn. Definitely Ivy League, been racist since before then. Denied blacks leases, took an ad out on the Central Park 5, got 2 immigrant wives. His racism and hypocrisy is well alive. The second in command is worse. JD got his JD at Yale. Immigrant wife and loves racist jokes. He should be deported to hell. His wife ain't white and is the child of immigrants. These people are willful. Please don't think they ignorant. The sex trafficker went to the College of William and Mary, same as Thomas Jefferson. His son Nestor is the Sally Hemings he didn't marry. Picked to be attorney general, attends underage sex parties, quits his job to stop the investigation. This is what the top cop will embody. For national intelligence, he picked a purported spy. The woman is in bed with Russia. Hillary didn't lie. The woman is in a cult, Science of Identity Foundation. Her leader is God. She is the queen of indoctrination. The final straw is the pick for Department of Defense. Might as well have tattooed a swastika. Being woke, he said, is the offense. White sons are walking away. He said this out his mouth. America was founded on racism, and he ain't even from the deep south. These people not playing. They racist as David Duke. Y'all worried about gas prices. Wait until the military tanks come for you. And that's that piece.
Thank you, JD. Oh, that was fantastic. Listen to the people here at the 3rd Street Market are just going nuts. Hey, lady, put your shirt back on. It's a lady that showed her breasts because she loved the poem so much. Let's take a break. When I come back, I'm going to share something with you about Donald Trump's nominee for the Department of the Defense. And maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm blowing these things out of proportion. And I sometimes have a tendency to do that because I see the small things And I know what small things can turn into if we ignore them. So please forgive me if I dig deep into the minutia of the backgrounds and the personalities, and in this case, the tattoos of Donald Trump's nominees. So when I come back, when I talk about these tattoos that the Secretary of the Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has on his body, some of those tattoos have been linked to, let's just say, less than favorable organizations. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What distinguishes Old National Bank from other lenders in helping people buy their first home and furthering their small businesses?
One thing that really makes us stand out is our grants. We have 2 really big grants right now specifically for first-time home buyers buying in Milwaukee County. The first one is for $15,000. They have to be buying within Milwaukee County and reach certain income limits. And then the second one is for $20,000, and that is through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indiana. We're headquartered in Indiana, as you know, Denise. So that is a second grant, and that is really the highest, most robust grant program throughout the entire southeastern Wisconsin area. So it's up to $35,000 essentially that a person could be receiving for their first home. If you are in a position that you're looking to buy your first home throughout Milwaukee County, please give me a call. Please contact me. I'm more than happy to help everybody that I can.
And what's your number, Anna?
Sure.
How can they reach you?
414-978-0283.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we can help. Sometimes in class, the only thing your child can focus on are the thoughts racing through their head.
Why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone? So different.
Your child is looking to you for answers. But as a parent, you probably have a lot of questions too. What should I do next? Where do I even start? At understood.org, we provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/the reason to get started.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions, get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
There is a constitutional amendment. Which one is it? That prevents Confederates and anyone who was accused of or convicted of any kind of insurrection against the United States, barring them from holding public office. It's either a clause, I can't find it for some reason, But it was brought up in the aftermath of January 6th, right? Anyone who commits an insurrection against the U.S. government should not be an office holder, and that makes sense. That also was a clause that was designed to prevent former Confederates from running for public office in the future, which actually is a very good idea, because I don't think you want someone who wanted to destroy the United States running for office, because if they win, guess what they can do? They can destroy the United States, but they can do a much better and a much more effective job at destroying the United States from within. Meaning, if you have someone who wants to get rid of and defund, and he said this, he said it, and I just don't know why people aren't more up in arms about this. And maybe we've just been so depleted by all of the shocking things that Matt Gaetz and others have said that we're desensitized to it. And if that's the case, then that's the trick. Shock people constantly, make headlines constantly, say something ridiculous, say something outrageous, say something that is wholly offensive to any single group of people, and just continue to flood the media with these overwhelming and these shocking things. And then eventually America completely tunes out, which means nothing shocks us anymore because we've heard it all, or we've heard it all so many times, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But when Matt Gaetz said he wants to defund the FBI and the ATF, all the three-letter agencies, why is that palatable? But then when a handful of activists said defund the police, they use that against Kamala Harris. Defunding the police meaning put resources in other places so you need less police, because that makes sense. If you've ever traveled to an area that has really low crime, maybe it's somewhere in Wisconsin, maybe it's elsewhere in this country, maybe it's a little small town, or maybe it's a city that just has low crime, you notice something, don't you? They have less police because they've defunded their police. That means they can invest the resources in education, residential treatment facilities. They can invest it in recreation. That is defunding the police. Because I have never been to an area that I consider safe, especially when I travel and Sherwin becomes a tourist and I go to other places. I don't typically go to high crime areas when I go on vacation, you see. One thing that I can say for sure is when I go to areas that have very low rates of crime, I don't see a lot of cops. You would think, oh my God, there's a cop on every single street corner. That is why this city, this town, this little hamlet has so little crime, because they got police everywhere. It's actually quite the opposite. You invest money and resources into the things that can prevent crime from ever happening, meaning you don't need as many uniformed police officers on the street. Now, the defund the police movement, if you even want to call it that, it seemed like it was something that was rebellious and lawless, like, oh, we don't want police at all for anything. That's because of who it came from. And you got to keep in mind, when it comes to urban America and the problems that exist in urban America, white people's defense against whatever perceived problems exist in urban America are the police. That's the whole thing with the Karen. The Karen will see a black man. The black man will make the Karen feel uncomfortable. She'll call the police because she knows the police will kill the black man on her behalf, so she doesn't have to get her hands dirty. So when we say in urban America, defund the police, that scares white America, because when they're coming into our community buying dope and committing all sorts of other illegal and sinister acts, purchasing women for sexual gratification, you think we don't see them getting off a 94 and trolling the hood looking for women to have sex with? You think that we don't see them coming from New Berlin and Elkhorn and all sorts of places coming into the city to buy heroin? You think we don't see that? But they're afraid of the city and all of the crime in the city, not taking any kind of accountability for the fact that they are part of the reason why crime in the city is the way it is. And I talked about this a long time ago. If there's a misconception that black people who live in Milwaukee, especially on the north side in impoverished communities, are all addicted to drugs, then nobody on the north side will be able to do anything, because we'd all be addicted to drugs. No, the drug addicts, the vast majority of them live outside of the city, but they come into the city to buy their dope. Everybody knows that. You can't make enough money just by selling heroin and fentanyl just to black people on the north side. The demand is actually greater outside of the city of Milwaukee. So to some extent, the people that are afraid of the city, they are the reason why they should be afraid of the city, because they are the criminal element. However, I digress. So when Matt Gaetz says he wants to defund these federal agencies, nobody even bats an eye at that. Here's something that I come to understand from an insider I spoke to over the weekend. Donald Trump wants loyalty. You know that. Everybody knows that. You got to be loyal to him. You have to show fealty to Donald Trump. And then if you show fealty, like a Elon Musk did, like a Vivek Ramaswamy did, like a Matt Gaetz did, these people that will go above and beyond to promote Donald Trump, even when Donald Trump was doing the worst things ever and saying the worst things ever. They showed loyalty to him, and Donald Trump appreciates the loyalty, right? Because Donald Trump is putting these people in place of these federal agencies because Donald Trump wants to know who in those agencies don't like him and who is going after him and who is trying to investigate him. That is why he is putting these, because the people that are most loyal to Trump, they're also the most troubled. They probably also have things in their background that would not allow them to get appointed in any other presidential administration. But because they're showing this loyalty to Donald Trump, Trump is putting them in positions that they shouldn't be in because Trump wants to know who in these agencies don't like him and who is out to get him. There is a paranoia that Donald Trump has that everybody is out to get him. So he's putting his loyal people and nominating these loyal people, not qualified people, not skilled people, not people that put us first or the Constitution first, people that put Trump first because he wants to know who's talking about him. It's such a disservice that's being done to the American people. That's why Matt Gaetz can be under investigation for sleeping with a 17-year-old girl and taking her across state lines and paying her for God knows what. And then Matt Gaetz being at an underage sex party. And the craziest thing was, the far-right, hardcore, insane, out of their mind, unreasonable Trumpers always accuse the left, the liberals, the progressives, and the Democrats of being involved in child sex trafficking when it is actually people that are loyal to Donald Trump. It's like they never even questioned Donald Trump's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, quote unquote, committed suicide while Donald Trump was president. Come on, y'all. And I want to bring everybody back into the fold here in America. And I want to be able to have, common sense conversations with people that fundamentally disagree with me politically. There was a period of time where we could do that, but they live in another reality. Let me give you an example. Kamala Harris lost the race, a race that we all were thoroughly convinced that she was going to win. She lost it. Now, one Democrat is calling for a January 6th meltdown riot at the Capitol. Now, Democrat said the election was fake. They were making up votes for Donald Trump. There was a few people that said that, but as an institution, the Democratic Party was like, yeah, we lost the election. We got to do some things better next time. Had Donald Trump lost this damn election, we would have been headed towards civil war, and you all know that. You can't talk to people that don't live in reality. I want to be able to bring those folks back in, have them on the show, and have policy discussions so we can talk about the merits of policy that's going to come out of the Trump administration. But they don't live in reality. The Democrats showed a tremendous amount of class in their election loss. Kamala Harris gave a concession speech within 72 hours of her loss being official. Donald Trump never conceded the 2020 election. Not only did he never concede the 2020 election, he went on to get elected again and still can't admit that he lost the 2020 election. That is problematic. Something else is problematic. Pentagon pick left the National Guard after being reported as a possible insider threat due to his white nationalist tattoo. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break and come back. We're going to talk to Al. And then I want to tell you how Pete Hegseth, who is Donald Trump's selection to lead the damn Pentagon, the war machine of the United States, the multi-trillion-dollar budget, 1.3 million employees, including having purview over the armed services, was not allowed to participate in Joe Biden's inauguration, because they have military security at a president's inauguration, because he has tattoos. This is Pete Hegseth now. This is Donald Trump's selection to lead the Pentagon, has white nationalist tattoos on his body. I can't make this stuff up. So take a break, come back, talk about these gifts that keep on giving. Whoever would have thought that somebody that was banned from participating in Joe Biden's inauguration because of his racist white nationalist tattoos is now going to be leading the U.S. military. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation!
And all our juicy jammers out there.
Make certain that you tap into Jam with Juice each and every day so you can quench your thirst.
That is right. You already know you can sip on us every single day, like Benjamin said, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. But that's not all, y'all.
Catch us exclusively on YouTube for our 6 to 7 show.
Yep, only on Thursdays.
Catch Jamming with Juice each and every day on 1017 The Truth.
Now sip on that.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
People will tell you that race is a social construct and that there's no biological reality that distinguishes between a white individual and a black individual. So what does that mean if there are these quote-unquote disparities, right? It means that the way we move through a society is markedly different, right? And that the experience that we have has biological consequences. Is when you're in a society where people are constantly discriminating against a certain group, denying access, don't have control over the institutions that govern our lives. All of those things create a biological reality and a response, whether it's a stress hormone or a fear or something that could be passed on, what we call epigenetics, which means what my mother or my grandmother experienced had an effect on what formed me in my responses to those stressors. That's how we can be two individual people with very little difference, but have totally, vastly different experiences as we move through our reproductive health.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Who decided you need to have lots of money?
Have to live in a certain area. Have to be a certain color.
To have a dream.
To expect a great education.
It's no secret many of Milwaukee's students lack the resources, support, and opportunities that more privileged children have, but you may not know all the things Milwaukee College Prep is doing to change that. We urge you to visit MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com to find out and see how you can help children like
me,
and me.
Give the education all kids deserve. Donate today at MKEPrep.com.
Tired of having to decline food at a potluck where you don't know where the food came from?
Don't you let your cats on your kitchen counters?
Host your next holiday with Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, now booking holiday office and corporate parties, or perhaps a private chef for your intimate family holiday gathering, or add to your Thanksgiving meal. Pick up sides such as Southern-style cornbread dressing, candied yams, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and more. And for desserts, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie. Connect on Facebook or Instagram, Shawnee's Exquisite Catering, or call 414-216-3469.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Said I shouldn't show him the shirt, Ricky. I mean, I'm not gonna read it on air because you'd have to censor it. What happens if I cuss? Like, what do you do if I cuss? Do you push the button?
You make my job hard.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I make your job.
Anytime somebody uses profanity, it makes my job hard. Whether it's you or the callers, y'all make my job hard.
I won't say it. So somebody bought me this shirt a long time ago. You can only see it if you can see it.
And then you move around so it can be seen on YouTube. Got it.
They see it. They can see it.
Kyle, it wasn't my idea. I told him.
Don't stop snitching.
I told him not to do it, Kyle.
Kyle can relax. Kyle, go back to doing whatever you're doing. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth.
Well, first thing I want to say is happy Monday to you and everybody. But my question is where's all these blacks who decided to be coons? Because the first thing I would like to ask is, how does Master Rectum taste? Because you're tasting something I'm obviously not tasting, because, you know, a lot of them coons is fascinated by his white skin. And, you know, when it came to Donald Trump, when he was talking like he was from the back alley, you know, everybody was standing up and praising. I also would like to ask, they've been real quiet since the reparations. Because, you know, a lot of them was pushing all that reparations, but, you know, now they got it in their face. They don't got nothing to say. So my question is all these people Trump put, they all got something in common. They're prejudice, they're rapists, and they all messed up. Like, I was looking at the mega church leader, Zachary, Joseph, Redcliffe, for child rape. I said, that's familiar. The Republican politician, John Joseph in Nevada, rape. And then I'm trying to figure out what's up with this Shannon Paul Barler with 15 counts of raping animals. Now we out here stealing booty cat, huh? I always thought that was crazy. And then I was going to ask you about the Jacob Schofield teacher who shared 1,000 videos of babies being raped. That's sick. That's one sick animal. And then the judge suspended his sentence and gave him 30 rehab sessions and 180 hours of community service. But they be the first one talking all this rhetoric, talking about their so-called morals, their so-called beliefs, but they out there stealing booty cat. Isn't it funny how they talk all that stuff, and a lot of them out there, they getting the booty cat hits themselves. So I just think they have a lot of mental issues. So I think it would be great that, you know, people should start calling them out on their stuff. But I haven't heard from Al from Sherman Park, because he was always against the transgenders. And keep in mind, they both all like the same thing. I was wondering, where was Meech? Where was Tory Lowe? Because he was speaking that sugar honey iced tea too, talking about the reparations, and Master even told him to his face, we ain't giving you nothing, Cutlet. I'm trying to figure out where all the hell is at. What you think about that? Where's the hell at? Because I know ain't nobody being bought and sold for a nickel hoe.
Al, you know they're not going to own up to their support of Donald Trump. You know they're going to be little shrinking violets. They don't want to be responsible for these people that Trump is going, they ain't going, you know that, Al. Al, I got a question for you. I need a definition, because you said a term that I and probably some of the listeners are quite unfamiliar with. What's booty cat?
Booty cat?
Yeah.
Booty cat is where men who walk with their wives acting like they ain't doing nothing, but they got somebody out there taking that cat on the back. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to enlighten the women. No, women. If your man, all right, that little skin between the testicles and rectum, if he's oily, lotion does not give residue. If he's oily, somebody getting that booty cat. If he can flex that rectum, somebody getting that booty cat. Okay? I'm just keeping it 100.
All right, thank you. You kept it 101.7. Thank you,
And
Al.
one more thing.
Oh, one more, of course.
Sherwin.
Yes.
Mr. Hodges. The other thing I want to say, if the man is 4 to 3 inches, 9 out of 10, he's giving that booty cat away. Because real women need above 8 to get off. Have a great day, or have a good morning. Bye-bye.
That one was my fault.
Man, y'all gonna get me fired.
I'm sorry.
Between you and Al, y'all gonna get me fired.
I thought it was.
No.
I didn't know what it was.
Oh my.
Because I need to know the definition. Man, I'm sorry. Let's talk to Miss Rose. Miss Rose, I only have about a minute, so got to condense your comments.
Okay, first I want to know where would you find the total? Is a complete count for the finish first?
say it again. A complete count.
Of the voting?
Yeah, the City of Milwaukee website.
Of the election?
Yes. Any election commission, the county has the totals after the canvas, the county website and the city website.
I'm talking about the total within the country, the whole total, not just the state, the whole total.
Oh, well, we don't have it yet, but yes, it will be available. It'll all be available online.
Okay, now I just want to give you 4 things, and that's the people in our country are the cause of Kamala. She could have won, and I'll tell you why. People pushed Biden out, number 1. 2, groups of people kept hitting that first black female, had nothing to do with the election, and it started turning off white folk. Number 3, it was not addressed the discrepancies of the Trump things were not addressed, like transgender, blaming Kamala for transgender allowance and immigration and everything. No, but the Democratic Party did not come out with negative things to bring out the truth. And the last one, number 4. Trump was not was not challenged on whether he really got the votes he really got. Nobody counted his votes. He counted everybody else's votes, but nobody counted his vote. And I believe the reason why nobody wants to challenge everything because they're fear of the aftermath of what Trump would do.
We gotta leave it there, Ms. Rose. That's where I got. Thank you for your call. Gotta leave it there. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
It's College Month on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholars get those free scholarship dollars. All month long, we will be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships each year. So be sure to tune into 101.7 The Truth's College Month so you can learn how your scholar can get those scholarship dollars. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Concordia University, Wisconsin.
Add a little inspiration and education to your classroom. Junior Achievement of Wisconsin is looking to connect with teachers, school administrators, parents, or even grandparents to bring our hands-on learning programs in financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship to your school. Learn how we can help set your students up for success. Visit wisconsin.ja.org to connect. Junior Achievement, inspiring, preparing, succeeding.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Vice President Kamala Harris.
Talk with your listeners to remind them of their power and the importance of voting. And the folks in Milwaukee turned out for me and Joe Biden in 2020. You showed what was possible.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you a racist?
Absolutely not.
Is Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely not. No.
And civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you all for speaking truth to power. That's the most important thing, because right now there are those in our community who would rather we just be quiet.
Right.
We have to disturb the peace now more than ever.
Tap into the award-winning and nationally recognized 101.7 The Truth by downloading the Truth app and streaming us live at 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Black Talk.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. Kamala Harris lost that election, and I don't think that there was anything that she could have done aside from the entire process being scrapped. And that would have caused its own chaos. So I don't even know how it would have worked. So after, let's see, the midterm elections were in 2022. Joe Biden would have had to have made the decision and talked to all of his donors, because they were still raising money during the midterm elections, because they raised a bunch of money for Democrats. Some of that went to the Democratic National Committee in preparation for the year 2024. He would have to say, you know what, I'm too old. I'm probably going to lose a debate in 2 years, and I'm going to drop out of, I'm not going to run for re-election. That would have caused an uproar, because people don't like to have those kinds of disruptions. And then the right and Fox News and everybody else would have speculated, oh my God, it's 2022. Joe Biden actually held the Democrats somewhat afloat. They maintained their majority in the U.S. Senate. Why is Joe Biden not running again? I'm giving you the only pathway to where it could have been maybe closer. Because Kamala Harris, she lost that race. It wasn't close. It wasn't like, oh, had we done this or spent money here or engaged these people on the ground in Canton, Ohio, or done this in Florida. No, it could have been closer, but she was not going to win that race. Just because of the shift in the whole country moved to the right. So let's say Joe Biden had stepped down in 2022. The speculation as to why he would have stepped down would have dogged the campaign. Okay, so let's say Joe Biden loses the debate, and then at that point we knew that he was not mentally attuned enough to go up against Donald Trump, nor does he or did he have the stamina. Think about how many rallies Kamala Harris did in a week. Sometimes she'd do 3 rallies in a day. Joe Biden would have needed a campaign as vigorous as that, and there's just no way. There's no way that he could have done it. And y'all know that. And he would have been gaffe prone. He probably would have fallen a couple of times. There would have been things that would have revealed more about Joe Biden's age. Joe Biden would have looked like Mike Tyson in the ring, basically. So had they done a process where Joe Biden steps down, I'm just trying to think of all these things that Democrats are now Monday morning quarterbacking, because I don't want anybody in this country to think that, oh, had the Democrats done this, Kamala Harris could have won. She was not going to win that race. We wanted her to for a number of reasons. We think she would have been a good steward on behalf of the American people. We think that she would have put together a vision, a dynamic policy vision for this country that would have helped more people than it would have hurt. She wasn't running on division and grievances. She was running on bringing people together and moving the whole country forward. But let's say they would have had, as Nancy Pelosi suggested, a primary process. It all depends on when Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Had he dropped out of the race the day he lost that debate, which he clearly was not going to do, I think he was in for another month or so, give or take? That debate was in July. I don't think he dropped out until August. I could be wrong. Yeah, he dropped out after the Republican convention. Because at the convention, the Republicans were thoroughly convinced that their guy was going to win, and they were right. Let's say they would have had a primary process. How long do you think it would have taken to get a primary process where other Democrats that would have challenged Kamala Harris, the black woman who was supposed to be leading the ticket in the event that Joe Biden can't run again or Joe Biden died in office or whatever the case may be. So we would put together remember, we got 108 days and the clock is ticking. So you got to put together a whole damn 50-state primary contest where you got 25 or 30 different Democrats all out here scrambling, trying to raise money. Then states have to print ballots. They got to put new election dates on their damn election calendar to narrow it down just for Kamala Harris to have won that primary process. Now we're down to 30 damn days until the election. It would have been a waste of time. There was nothing that could have been done. I don't want to keep beating the dead horse here, but I don't want somebody thinking that, oh, had she done this, had she done that, she would have won. She was not going to win that race. She got bogged down by the border, They labeled her the border czar, which is a position that didn't even exist, nor did she agree to it. That label stuck. And instead of playing defense, which she could have done the only way it could have worked is if Joe Biden got elected in 2020, right? Gets sworn in, gets inaugurated, resigns the presidency, okay? Then Kamala Harris would have to go to Congress to get another vice presidential pick. So it would be President Kamala Harris. Joe Biden just said, I just wanted to beat Donald Trump. I'm out of here. I'm too old. That is the only way she could have had a shot. But then in the 4 years in which she was president, so I'm saying Joe Biden would get inaugurated on January 20th, 2021, resign the next day, turn the presidency over to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris would then have to pick a vice president, and then the last 4 years would have been Kamala Harris as president. That's the only way she would have had a shot, and her term would have had to have been perfect. But Joe Biden wasn't going to do that. Joe Biden wasn't going to strive his whole life to be elected president, get elected president, then quit. They got her on the border stuff. They got her all the illegal immigration stuff because that's racism, that's xenophobia, and it's economic because the Trump campaign did a yeoman's job at convincing Americans the economic pain that you feel is because of illegal migrants, which was a total lie, but people believed it. If somebody feels economic pain, if your money isn't going as far as you used to, if prices are going up and your salary's not going up, you want to blame somebody for that. Why not blame people that aren't Americans, right? Why not blame people that don't have a means to defend themselves? Because if you think about it, in this nation, minorities, whether it be from a different country, like immigrants and migrants, they don't have media to defend themselves. No one is telling their story but what their lives are actually like. So they're easy to pick on. America likes to bully somebody. And if we're feeling any kind of pain, blame people you don't like. That's why black folks are always the scapegoats for everything, because people don't like black people. So blame us for high crime. Blame us for you name it. So that was easy. The they them stuff, that one hurt too. Because I think that we fail to appreciate, it used to be homophobia, but then we just had to get used to the gays getting married. And then it just kind of went away. Nobody cares about the gays getting married. They wanted to get married. There was a period of time where the gays didn't want to push a marriage agenda because they knew that it would alienate some voters. Back in the year 2004, when the Democratic ticket was John Kerry and John Edwards, y'all remember that? Back then, we didn't even call them LGBT. Like the letters have grown. We didn't call them LGBTQ plus IA back then. Back then, they were called GLBT. GLBT, gay, lesbian, bisexual. The trans wasn't even in there. The Q wasn't in there. The I, the A, none of that stuff. The plus wasn't even in there. And I remember back then, so you had, in the Wisconsin campaign, you had these different, managers of different constituency groups, right? And the manager of the GLBT group in Wisconsin was like, we're not going to push marriage equality. We'll wait on that, or we'll use the courts at some point in time. But we don't want to alienate Democratic voters that aren't comfortable with gays getting married. Back then, it was called civil unions. The gays took a step back. They're like, we don't want to push marriage because Democrats may lose the election if we push too much gay stuff. And this is what was told to me by the gays. They appreciated and understood how homophobic America was. And if John Kerry and John Edwards came out and said they were in favor of gay marriage, they would have lost anyway. But they really would have lost. In fact, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, he just didn't want no gay marriage at all. In fact, he had the don't ask, don't tell in the military. Then Barack Obama didn't come out in favor of gay marriage until he got elected his second term. So Obama was even against it in 2008. But at this point, the LGBTQ and the trans stuff and the pronoun stuff dogged Kamala Harris because we failed to appreciate how transphobic America is. It used to be homophobia, and it still is homophobia, but I think we've just gotten used to gays getting married. But now the trans stuff really dogged the Democrats, and Kamala Harris couldn't escape it because she could have said, I was against trans people receiving hormone therapy in prison. But that would have made her look anti-trans, and you can't do that. Even though the trans community in this country is so small, if you say you're anti-trans, you're not losing a lot of votes. But I also know the Democrats need a big tent. But that dogged her. That commercial that they had, and they ran that commercial 30,000 times. They spent $30 million running that Donald Trump is for you, Kamala Harris is for they, them. That was just one that people couldn't get over. It's no secret that there's a couple of gay people that call this show, call other shows on 101.7 The Truth. They're a member of our community like everybody else is. Gay men, especially older gay men, don't like trans people. We seem to think, because we lump everybody together, the LGBTQIA+, that they're all friends, and they all ride in a rainbow-colored van together, and they all go to parties. No. There are deep divisions within that community, just like there are deep divisions in the, quote, communities of color. All black people don't like all Native American people. All Native American people don't like all Mexican people, don't like all Korean people, don't like all people of color. And I think the Democrats failed to realize that. Here's how you answer that question, which they didn't do. The trans issue that's an issue that we leave up to the states. If individual schools can find a way where a young person plays sports with either their biological sex or the sex they identify as, federal government should not be allowed involved in any of that stuff. That's how they could have skirted it, but they didn't. You only had 108 days to do everything. She had to define herself. She had to put together a coalition, put together teams, build campaigns in probably 35 states or more. She had to travel. She had to get surrogates. She had to assemble an organization in a very short period of time, which she did. But there's always some loose ends that you can never really tie up. And I think it was the border and the trans issue. That was it. This election was actually a lot simpler than people wanted to make it out to be. It was simple. It was economic issues. It was not listening to the real economic anxieties of people. It was the infrastructure bill that should have taken more precedent than it did. The accomplishments of the administration should have been front and center, but they couldn't get away from the border. We just hate people coming over here from the border. And, of course, the Trump campaign used fear, which is a very powerful campaign tool. George Bush got elected in 2004 because America was nervous we might have another terrorist attack. That was the Republicans' unifying message back in the 2004 election cycle. Remember 9/11? Under George Bush, there won't be another 9/11. It's the Democrats and Osama bin Laden. They want the Democrats to win because Democrats are soft on terrorism. They're soft on crime, blah, 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 blah. Fear worked. So let's put all that to rest. That Kamala Harris could not have won. And I don't want to discourage women, especially black women, from running for office, because if they lose, we blame them. We were in a very unusual and unpredictable set of circumstances where a convicted felon and a man who sexually assaulted a woman and a man who was complicit in an insurrection against the United States got reelected. I don't think America has found itself in that situation ever, and a lot of folks just didn't know how to react to it. We almost didn't want to believe it. We didn't want to believe what was going on during COVID. We didn't want to believe, and we didn't want to remember that Donald Trump was telling people to inject bleach. You know what we should have said when Trump said, oh, maybe if you just inject the bleach, the COVID goes away. We should have said, why don't you inject some bleach, Mr. President, man? Now show us how it's done. Where do you inject it? In the arm? In the butt cheek? Show us where you inject the bleach. We're all learning from you, sir. Donald Trump didn't inject no damn bleach. Donald Trump got vaccinated while he was telling y'all not to. The day after the Washington, D.C. National Guard was deployed to secure a U.S. Capitol desecrated by January 6 rioters, a photo of one Guard member, his tattoo is clearly visible as he emerged shirtless from the Hudson River after a charity swim, circulated in an online chat of military and American intelligence officers. The soldier was well known among the group as the Fox News host Pete Hegseth. But in a moment of high national anxiety and with the Guard set to protect the Capitol ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration, some in the chat raised concerns about Pete Hegseth's tattoos. Travis Akers, then a naval intelligence officer, told the Washington Post that he looked further and spotted a close-up image of Hegseth posted his bicep months earlier that clearly showed the Latin words "Duis Vult." Researching the phrase online, Akers found it was a Christian battle cry from the First Crusade in the Middle Ages, and it means God wills it. Though the phrase remains in use among some ordinary Christians, especially Catholics, Akers said his research showed that it had become popular with the Proud Boys, the Three Percenters, and other extremist groups that participated in the siege at the Capitol. Hold up, wait a minute. The man that Donald Trump nominated to be the Secretary of the Department of Defense has a tattoo on his body that has been used by the Proud Boys, the Three Percenters, and other white extremist groups. And that's just the Deus Vult in Latin tattoo. On his chest, he has a series of iron crosses, which are also symbols that have been used by white nationalist groups. And this is a man that Donald Trump wants to lead the military. This is a man, because of that one tattoo, didn't pass a security clearance to provide security detail during Joe Biden's inauguration, is now going to lead the U.S. military. I'm going to give you one more example of how the cross is used by Christian nationalists, and I'm going to take a break. One of the signature terrorist threats used by the oldest, largest terrorist organization ever to exist on planet Earth, as many as 4 million members at one point in time, the Ku Klux Klan. They illuminate a cross with fire, and to put fear in the hearts of would-be African Americans who would register to vote, they would burn a cross in your front yard. You would think that that would be sacrilegious, that they would illuminate a cross in flames. Christian nationalists have always used the cross as symbolism for their racism and their hate. Last year, I interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I asked her if she was a racist. She said no. I asked if Donald Trump was a racist. She denied that as well. But what she did say, if you listen to that whole interview, after I asked her if she was a racist, she said no. I asked her if Trump was a racist. She said no. She said, but I am a Christian nationalist. It is the same thing. They use Christianity to further their hatred of non-white people. They use the cross as a symbol of their closeness to God. They also use that cross as a threat to non-white people. Pete Hegseth has iron crosses on his chest, and he has a Latin saying tattooed on his bicep, a saying, Deus Vult, that translates into God wills it, and is also a phrase popular with the Proud Boys, the Three Percenters, and other extremist groups. And this is one of the first people that Donald Trump nominated to be in his cabinet. Think about that for a second. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 101.7thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
As a bull rider, I prefer to do things single-handedly. That's why I love the UW Credit Union app. Doggy! It lets me check accounts, make transfers and more on the go. And if I need an extra hand, UW Credit Union has 13 Milwaukee area branches. Yippee! So, if you want simple mobile banking, mosey on over to UW Credit Union. They're here for every y'all. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you or anyone you know looking to open a small business or learn the industry? Attend the City of Milwaukee 9th District Business Conference November 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ross Innovative Employment Solutions. Brought to you by Milwaukee 9th District Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, helping you take your next steps towards financial empowerment. Sponsored by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor of the 9th District of the City of Milwaukee. City of Milwaukee, Granville, BID, Ross Innovative Employment Solutions.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm going to read some text messages at 833-212-1017. Our phone number is 833-212-1017. You can call or you can text. All right, let's see here. LT says, did No Child Left Behind mean pushing through students who were underperforming to the next grade? So short answer, no, LT, it did not. And why do we keep changing terminologies such as homeless to unhoused and murder to unalived? Well, you can't say murder on social media because it's offensive. So they just, unalived is not, murder is murder. So that the legal definition, homicide, murder, that's unchanged. Nobody changed the official definition of murder to unalived. That's just what people say on social media so their content doesn't get banned or demonetized. No Child Left Behind, in short, was we were going to focus on testing, how children did on tests, because we were going to use the tests as the benchmarks to determine what schools needed additional resources. So because there was such a focus on testing, a lot of resources that were used for like extracurricular activities, electives, sports, etc., got cut to focus on testing. And it was a really horrible strategy because a lot of children can perform well in school and on testing if they have those additional opportunities, extracurriculars, sports, etc., etc. So No Child Left Behind was not for promoting children to the next grade. That was more of like, how do I describe that? Look, there's social stigma on children who are left behind. Back when I was growing up, we had plenty of 16-year-old eighth graders. You flunked. Hey, how come so-and-so got a full beard and we in the 7th grade? Oh, that's because they're 25. They got left back a few times. Oh, okay. Hell, when I was a freshman, how old are you when you were a freshman? 14, 15? I stopped taking the school bus. Certainly by the time I was a sophomore. Now, I didn't get my driver's license until the summer after my sophomore year. But by the time I was in the 10th grade, even freshman year, it was so many kids in my class at Browndale High School that was 16 and had driver's license, I ain't need to take the school bus anymore. Sometimes I took the school bus because the school bus back in the day was social because there was no rules on the school bus. That's why you took the school bus. But they used to flunk kids. But they didn't want to do that no more because I guess the kids that are in 7th grade with full beards and probably with families, you probably had some 7th graders that had husbands and wives. In 7th grade, be 24 years old. There was a negative social stigma attached to it, so they just promoted kids to the next grade so that they could be with their classmates. Even though they didn't know the material from the previous grade, they might need to bring back flunking. Because that was the one thing we was afraid of back in the day. I remember we got our report cards. The format of the Brown Deer School District report card didn't change until I was in high school. You got the same report card through when we started getting a report card. Probably like, third grade? Second grade? It was green. And it was a trifold. And on the front, it had your name on it. It had a year. It had your teacher, right? It has the date on it, report card for whatever school year. And you open that joker up, and you have all the classes that you took. And in the middle, it have all the grades that you got in the classes. And on the right side, it probably had your test scores. And then when you turn that joker over, on the back, it says your name has been promoted to, and then the teacher would write in the next grade. Or if you flunked, it would say so-and-so has not been promoted to the next grade, and it says the grade that you got to repeat. When we used to get our report cards, we didn't care what the grades was. We didn't care about the test scores. We turned that joker over to the back to make sure we ain't flunked. And that was all the celebrating that we did. I didn't flunk. I'm going to 5th grade. And then we'd probably go have a beer. I don't know what we did, but we would celebrate because you didn't want to flunk. Because they'll flunk you back in the day. They don't do that now. If you in 3rd grade and you're not reading on a 3rd grade level, the worst thing that they could do is put you in 4th grade. Because if you have 3rd grade children that can't read at the 3rd grade level and they go to 4th grade, then 4th grade cannot realize its full academic potential for those children because you can't even teach the children in 4th grade terminology. And then you promote them to the 5th grade. Remember, they weren't even on the 3rd grade reading level. You just keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And the material is supposed to get more complicated. It's supposed to get more difficult because you are assuming that the child learned everything they were supposed to learn in the previous grade. Grades are cumulative, or at least they used to be. I don't even know how they educate children nowadays. I don't even know. Some of y'all just call it indoctrination. LT says there's a school where a girl identifies as a cat and they wanted to give her a separate bathroom with a litter box. Is this why people are turning against liberal? I'm not even going to dignify that. Why would you want to use a bathroom in a litter box? Do you meow? Somebody should probably check into the home lives of these children. Fresh says somehow Trump gets the 22nd Amendment changed if by some miracle he decides to run again. Do you think Obama could beat him? I know people feel different about him right now. I don't. Fresh, if they change the 22nd Amendment, there would not be another presidential election. So let's just hope that they don't do that. And it would take a lot to change the constitutional amendment. Well, I don't know. How many states are red? You just need 2/3 of the states to ratify it, or I think that there's a way in which Congress can ratify an amendment. But everything is on the table right now. What we thought we knew about American government, throw all that out the garbage, out the window, into the garbage, rather. I think Trump is too old. He's going to have a succession plan, and in some form or fashion is going to include J.D. Vance. But who knows what they're going to do, especially with the Republican trifecta. You are going to see what Trumpism looks like when it has unlimited, uncontrolled, and unchecked power from every single level of the government, where Donald Trump can do, say, and act in any way he can, and it's going to be justified by law and his new executive authority. He will be able to do anything. His worst impulses will come to fruition because there is no one to stop him. When he was president the first time, Nancy Pelosi tried to keep the train on the track. They bogged him down in impeachments and investigations. He did everything he could. He even was willing to shut down the government for 35 or 36 days so he could get military funding to build the border wall. He even told the presidents of Ukraine, hey, give me some dirt on Joe Biden and I'll give you the money that Congress allocated for you for your war effort. That was an impeachable offense too. Not to mention his participation in January 6th. So there were guardrails against Donald Trump. during his first term. Now there are none. Not only are there no guardrails, he just won re-election with what he believes is a mandate. He won the popular vote, and he won in the Electoral College. It was not a damn landslide. Stop saying that. Last landslide we had was Ronald Reagan. Ain't had a landslide in this country in 40 years. Now, we've had people that have won by comfortable margins. Barack Obama won by a comfortable margin, but even that wasn't a landslide. Donald Trump believes that he has got God on his side, because remember, he got shot in the ear. He's got the House of Representatives on his side, led by Mike Johnson, who is nothing more than a Donald Trump sycophant. He has got the U.S. Senate, a comfortable majority, a 3-seat majority in the U.S. Senate, and he has his 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. The man can do whatever he wants, and there's not a single person to tell him no. Now, the Democrats are going to say no a lot. Doesn't mean that those no's are going to be realized nor recognized. So I'm going to take a break, come back. I'm going to talk to Lisa. Have a feeling this is going to be a very short phone call with Lisa. But we'll talk to her on the other side nonetheless. And I will read your text messages at 833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. Donald Trump's selection for Department of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has a number of tattoos on his body that are synonymous with a white nationalist movement in this country. Yay, go America. That's how you make America great again. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Telly Hughes with his truth.
I want to stress the importance of a positive mindset. Everything begins as a thought before it ever becomes an action. So it's extremely important to purposely place yourself in positive spaces to help shape and nurture those thoughts. I know you're probably thinking, okay, Telly, let's be realistic. Look, I get it. You may work with people with bad energy, or you may even be related to people who are negative by nature. In this journey called life, there will be many things that come your way that's out of your control. But what you can control is how you respond. Understand this. You have the right to either tap in or tap out of whatever energy that may come your way. And that's how you can control and protect your positive spaces. The mind is where it all starts, and if your thoughts are centered around positivity, you'll see how things begin to transform. You'll see a noticeable difference between things happening for you versus things always happening to you. You'll begin to grow through situations as opposed to just going through tough situations. Make it a priority to surround yourself with positive people and create those positive spaces and begin to experience the fruits of what a positive mindset can produce. Trust me, it takes work to creating these spaces, and you have to be intentional about it. And I'm committed to putting in the work because I'm living proof that it's well worth the peace a positive mindset brings.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Entrepreneurs, could you use $10,000 to start or grow your business? The Wisconsin Black Chamber is hosting its third Thursday networking event featuring the pitch competition. It's going to be Thursday, November 21st at Rain Event Lounge at 231 East Buffalo. Be there promptly at 5 o'clock to register to compete. Registration ends promptly at 5:15. This is the last chance to qualify for the finale in December. First prize is $10,000. Second prize is $7,000. And third prize is $3,000. Do not miss out. All right, this is some of that COVID money that the Black Chamber got to create jobs. So the COVID money came to Governor Evers. Governor Evers distributed a whole bunch of money to black businesses. And then the Republicans got mad because they have no impact or influence on money that is given from a president to a governor. And so they put a referendum on, that must have been our August ballot, to try and change the rules to where the legislature, can have control over money that the governor receives from the president. And that referendum thankfully failed. Let's talk to Lisa. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm fine, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
Okay, you're not saying that's good enough, but that's okay. You don't love when I call. But anyway, I'm doing good.
What you calling me for but gonna say I ain't saying nothing good enough? Your calls don't be good enough, woman.
You see how your strength just said, oh, okay, I said, good morning, Sherwin. You're not expecting
Lisa, let me say something. Lisa, hold on now. You need to learn how to text. Now, don't just be calling just to say good morning. You can text that.
Okay, but I had a comment about education. Like you said, it brought back memories. Yes, I got straight I's from elementary school, all through elementary school. But back then, Sherwin, you remember commercials and your teachers?
What's an I?
Always say think. I was in middle school. It was like complete. It's like an A. It was like an A. So all my classes, and everything. I didn't really have no classes. I told you I had one classroom. I had my own teacher. But report card, like you said, you do the I, then you get 100% next to it, and then it had a space where the teachers write comments. I just had all I's and 100.
Where did you go to school that you only had one damn class?
Benjamin Franklin, right here on 23rd and I don't even know where I live at. On 23rd and Ash. You saw Benjamin Franklin Elementary School.
Did you go in? When did you go there? In the 1800s?
No, I went from 1908 to 70, about 70, no, 79, 80, 81. So I graduated high school in 89. So yeah, early 80s. That was fun. Well, if you go back to school, they had a globe in class. Your teacher, I used to just wake up for the Pledge of Allegiance to the school, go around to each classroom, collect the lunch money, take it back to the office, help the secretary, which only had one or two, count the money, take the money down to the lunchroom, give it to the lunch lady. And that's what I did. And then I went to my classroom, and that's what I was taught with one teacher. Because my father, the white people wanted to put me in their school because of I don't know what I did or what school or how school, I don't know. But my father said, no, all my kids stay together. They're going to stay right here in the school. He knew what they were trying to do. So I stayed there. I had my own, that's when they got me the teacher, my own class. I learned how to speed read. Oh, that was so much fun. And all that type of stuff. And then I went to the library for the rest of the day. All my life, I just was to myself. I was a loner. I remember when they brought computers into the school, I lived in that computer room. I lived there. I was just so fascinated with computers. Remember the encyclopedia man that go door to door, study the encyclopedias? One year my mom sent me the red ones, and she got me the green ones. They didn't have the red at the time, so she got me the green ones. He came back around, she got me the red ones. That was my life. That's how we were brought up. That's how we were brought up. Candy on the table all the time, the dining room table. We can get whatever we want, go to school. Remember lunch class, come back. My brothers had me walk me back. They go play, and then when lunch was over, they walk me back to school. That's how my father had us. School, you had to think. Think, think, think. You remember that? Did your teachers teach you that in school? That's always think, think, think. That's what you got up there to think. Your brain is to think.
So the class that taught you about civics and government and voting, you didn't take that class?
That was in high school.
Oh, okay. In
was in high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
That was in high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to West Virginia. I went to West Virginia, which became MHSA, Milwaukee School of the Arts. I went there.
What was your specialty? You had to have some kind of specialty. What was it?
Yeah.
Music? Singing?
Music.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
No, actually, I went for violin and harp.
Harp? Nobody play no damn harp no more.
Well, I did. I played it.
You still play the harp now, 40 years later? You don't play no harp, woman?
Oh, listen to it. That's why I love orchestrated music. Oh, God, listen to it. I love orchestra. Oh,
anything to say about Donald Trump's cabinet secretaries, his nominees? Anything to say about the politics of the day, Lisa?
You know what, Sherwin? My niece came over the other day.
I didn't ask you about your niece. Do you have anything to say about Donald Trump's nominees? Why can't women answer a question?
You know what? He's trying to make it's all Republican. It's all Republican. Like you said, I read some of the 2025 plan. I hear from different people, and I'm like, you guys just don't know what's coming. You don't. If you read the Bible, Sherwin, which you don't believe in, it tells you about one power. There's going to be one power. So it's starting. It's starting. We're watching it unfold. It's in the Bible, the very book we should read. And that very book, you tell that the non-Christians, it's the thing how we get people. We don't get them, but we say, okay, let's get your Bible. Get it. Come on. I'm going to take you to a scripture to where that man that you're saying hang on the cross, come here. Let me show you what color he is. So you keep worshiping him. Thank you. All righty then. See, if you don't know the truth, you could take it and make them think and let the very thing that you're reading says it right there. Do you know? You join an organization and things and worship a man on the cross, and you don't know anything about that man on the cross. Amazing. So people fall for the okie dokie, like the Bible says. You listen to babble. You listen to people.
Imagine that. The Bible says you're listening to babble. I wonder what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah. You listen to people that entertain your ear because you fall for anything. Instead of you looking into it and researching things, you listen to people. Just like pastors. God didn't say, Bible didn't say nothing like that, but you listen to it because that's what he says. The same thing with Trump. You fall for the okie dokie. You listen to what this man said because it sounds good to your ear. You're like, yeah, we want to deport them people back. We want to deport them. Instead, you deport them. Then you deported, 15 million people? Who is going to go pick them oranges out that field?
You going to go pick them with your Bible. You finna go pick them. You finna get to pick.
You know what? I want a nice leg, and I'm hoping my insurance pays for it because I can upgrade. You know how much these legs cost?
Well, hold on a second. Did you say insurance? Lisa, what kind of insurance do you think you have right now? Just curious.
Look, right now, I'm paying for Medicare, and I'm paying for Medicaid. And then if they take away the Medicaid, then I'm going to have to go to an F&N. Yeah, you have to look into Medicare. They have more plans than, whatever.
And do you think that when they evaporate the Affordable Care Act, which provides more benefit, more money, and more supplements to both Medicare and Medicaid, you think you're going to be okay? You better get you a second job. You need to go work full time and get you some benefits, Lisa. That's what I'm telling. But I can't feel sorry for you because you didn't vote. But I got to go because I got to read my Bible because it's in the Bible. Sherwin, you got to read the Bible. I told you it's on page 25, chapter 22 of the Bible. I went to Benjamin Franklin Middle School. I used to collect the lunch money. Unbelievable. If y'all don't care, then I guess I don't care either. What y'all want to talk about? Y'all talk about Thanksgiving recipes? What do they talk about on regular People Talk Radio? What do they talk about? The weather? Oh, it's a little chilly out today. You guys check the weather in the morning so you know if you should wear your heavy sweater. Personally, I prefer mittens to gloves. Ooh, it gets a little chilly. That's what they talk about on regular talk radio because I guess it just don't even matter. The politics stuff don't matter no more. Let's talk about sweater weather. What do you like on your pizza? Do you like fruit pizza? Is that even a pizza? When you have fruit on your pizza? Some people like pineapple on their pizza. That's what I'm going to talk about from now on. Y'all don't even want to take me serious. Okay. You better get used to talking about pizza toppings and Thanksgiving menus. What's in fashion this fall? Are women wearing sarongs again? The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's college month on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholars get those free scholarship dollars. All month long, we will be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships each year. So be sure to tune into 101.7 The Truth's College Month so you can learn how your scholar can get those scholarship dollars. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Concordia University, Wisconsin.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Garage doors giving you headaches? Best way I know how to deal with it is to call my friends at Geis. Family owned since 1955, Geis is the trusted authority on garage doors and openers in southeastern Wisconsin. Trust me, I use them too. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to match your exact needs. For fast, reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com or call 262-784-4250. GeisDoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
As he was about to be deployed, Pete Hegseth, now President-elect Donald Trump's nominee to be Defense Secretary, received a call from his superior officer ordering him to stand down rather than report for duty for the inaugural events, according to an officer later briefed on the events, as well as Hegseth's own accounts and writings and interviews. Hegseth's removal from the mission became a seminal moment in his life. He has cited the episode in asserting that the military in which he'd served in two wars abroad and during riots at home following the death of George Floyd had become dangerously, quote, woke. In his telling, guard officials were focused on a cross tattoo on his chest, not the Latin phrase that records and interviews shows most concerned military officials. Hegseth, who did not respond to emails and messages left on his phone, wrote in the opening lines of his most recent book, The War on Warriors, that he left the military because of the episode. I joined the Army in 2001 because I wanted to serve my country. Extremists attacked us on September 11th, and we went to war, Hegseth wrote. 20 years later, I was deemed a, quote, extremist by that very same Army. The military that I loved, I fought for, I revered, spit me out. Hegseth's nomination has sparked controversy because of his lack of experience leading large organizations, as well as critical statements he has made about military leadership, women serving in combat units, and the Muslim faith, and most recently because of an alleged sexual assault in 2017. A lawyer for Hegseth has denied the sexual assault claim, saying that the encounter was consensual, and the police in Monterey, California investigated, but prosecutors brought no charges. Stephen Chung, a spokesman for Trump, said Hegseth has the necessary experience and impressive qualifications to implement Trump's policies, and therein you have it, to implement Trump's policies. So they're doing a new kind of military recruiting. Why this isn't covered more, I'm not sure. Probably because it will be tremendously terrifying to the American people. Because Pete Hegseth wants to remove women from certain roles in the military. Because he makes this clear. He says this publicly. He thinks that women are unfit to serve in a variety of different roles in the military. He also thinks that women can hinder certain combat missions. His other issue with the U.S. military is how woke and how politically correct it has become. And so there's going to be a new recruitment in the U.S. military, a new set of recruitment tools, and it's going to be fealty to Donald Trump. And they are going to recruit people in the military, maybe people that have tattoos like Pete Hegseth, known to be mottos of white extremist groups and the Proud Boys and the Three Percenters. They are literally building a Confederate army under this man who's going to lead the Department of Defense, who is an avowed racist. But now you don't say racist because that's politically incorrect. Now you got to say they're a Christian nationalist. Hegseth, who served tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, spent more than a decade in the Guard, that he was floored by the surprise order that he could no longer participate in inaugural duties. He was not told at the time the real reason he was barred from the inaugural mission. He wrote, "We don't need you, we're good," Hegseth recalled his superior officer saying. Hegseth said he stewed over the ensuing days. He wondered if he'd been excluded because he was an outspoken Trump supporter. Then it goes on and on and on. He is a man who is doomed by his own grievance, means he fits perfectly into Trump world. So now I'm just trying to figure out, what does this mean for the rest of us when the theme permeating through Donald Trump's appointments so far they have been hurt, they have been harmed, they have been disrespected because of their political views, their extremist views, their views on race. They all have a grievance. They have a grievance with this country, with this government, and now they're going to have some of the most powerful positions in the government in which they despise. How does this work out for us? And did y'all want cheap gasoline and cheap bacon that bad? You know that there was going to be a trade-off. If you voted on economic issues, fair enough. I respect that. If you voted on the flood of illegal immigrants coming into the nation, okay, fair enough. I guess I can understand that. And if you feel that illegal immigration was harming you or your family or what the future repercussions could be, okay, fair enough. But, in order to vote for that, you're going to get a whole bunch of other stuff that you were unaware of. And I'm not entirely sure how it's going to impact us, but I know that it will. Turning the U.S. military into a force that is loyal to Donald Trump, meaning the coup that took place on January 6th, which was a bunch of just ragtag people, some probably there just to be spectators, just to see what was going on. There were some actual military officials that were in that crowd as well. But in the event that there is another coup, because let's be clear, they got away with the first one. They did. There was no major repercussions because of that. Donald Trump was still allowed to run for president. And it's the 14th Amendment, by the way. There's a clause in the 14th Amendment that if someone is accused or found guilty of an insurrection against the United States, they are barred from ever holding public office. That clause was never used against Donald Trump. So essentially, he got away with January 6th. He got impeached. He got acquitted in the Senate. So Trump got away with it. Now they're going to have the real U.S. military, the real army now be their foot soldiers, especially with Pete Hegseth, who's going to be the Secretary of the Department of Defense, who's going to use a new recruiting tool. Do you hate all this woke stuff? Do you hate all this politically correct stuff? Do you hate all these migrants that are coming over here, destroying our country? Come and join the U.S. military. And they will find a willing group of lonely, incel, would-be mass shooters and school shooters. They will now have a comfortable home where they can air their grievances, and it's going to be the U.S. military. But the good thing is gas might be $2.40 a gallon, so there's that. So it might totally be worth it. At some point, there may be U.S. military in some urban areas. It's just a matter of time before protests break out at some point in this country, whether it be unfair police practices, whether it be all of the consent decrees that exist over local police departments, including here in Milwaukee, all of those being lifted, another George Floyd perhaps, and then Donald Trump inquiring during his first term, why can't the military turn their guns on American protesters? And Trump was quoted as saying, well, why can't they just shoot him in the leg or something? There were people that told Donald Trump, you can't do that. You can't turn the U.S. military against the American people that are protesting peacefully. Well, now there's no one to tell Trump no. And this defense secretary is cause for concern. The other one that's going to be a major cause for concern is Tulsi Gabbard. I really think she is a Russian. She's a Russian spy.
My job to protect the world
I think she is. I think she's a Russian asset.
And to look super cool while I do it.
That's just my personal opinion.
You see, I'm an international super spy. They call me Secret Agent Secret, and I like my beverages shake and think my job is easy. Well, then you would be mistaken. Super spy.
Thank you for listening.
Super spy.
Have a great day.
It's College Month on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholars get those free scholarship dollars. All month long, we will be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of dollars in scholarships each year. So be sure to tune into 101.7 The Truth's College Month so you can learn how your scholar can get those scholarship dollars. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Concordia University, Wisconsin.
It started with a prediction.
Go out there and play basketball and win. And how many games? 6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
Truth Nation, let us take a second to brag for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like President Joe Biden.
Black child poverty was cut in half in 2021. We built black wealth, 15 million jobs nationwide, more than 2.5 million for black Americans. Black wealth is up 60% since the pandemic.
Former President Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump.
Guys, we almost had a former president and very likely future president assassinated on live TV. Like, you know what that would have done for this country? You know what that would have made our country look like? We would look like a banana republic.
And Brewers All-Star and former National League MVP, Christian Yelich.